Now Houston, Texas, make some noise because the time for talk is over. It's time to unleash the fury.
Yeah. Diego is a piece of crap, isn't he?
Diego just finished busting right now.
No thanks.
He just finished a massage.
Can't make it today.
And in case you were wondering, that's how you start the Fury Unleashed podcast. Diego just finished busting.
Started from that, Diego.
He's like, it's too sore, don't touch me. I'm sensitive.
What'd you think about the FPI 4?
What is a FPI for?
You know that awesome
what do I
event
think about
where we bring the best of the best out to Vegas? Grapplers, announcers, photographers, commentary. We bring the best of the best.
And Rich Burmaster?
and me.
And Rich Burmaster.
And me. I just show up.
Hey.
Did you get to watch it?
Fuck you and fuck you.
Did you get to watch it?
No.
The first person that greeted us was who?
Justin Bernard.
Cool, man. That's cool. Seems like a nice guy.
Man, hey, Asian Wayne was out there the moment we got to the FBI.
They actually got the same haircut.
Hey, I never realized he was all tatted up like that. Did you?
I know. Do they have the same haircut?
They all have the exact same haircut.
Well, I'm deferring comment. I don't have any alcohol in me, so I'm gonna be nice and.
Hey, I
will
will say two of the best announcers in the game, man. You guys are great. Have great voices, great presence.
They're definitely better than the LFA guy.
Mike's fine.
Fucking Mike Kendall.
The fake legacy or the real legacy?
Is that what LFA stands for?
The fake legacy.
Fake legacy.
Legacy fake alliance. All right.
Speaking of, I saw Ed there.
I saw him too.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
It's like, what's up, dude?
Yeah, we said hi for 10 seconds, and
how are you, Ed?
then it got awkward because he sat behind me the whole time. I'm on the mic.
Oh, did he sit back there?
He was right behind me.
Like on the floor or on the bleachers?
He was he wasn't on the floor. Like, he had to sit in the seat with the peasants. But was he up in VIP with you?
No, I caught him backstage. Like, he was talking to Techi, and then the minute I walked up, he was telling Techi something, and Techi just walked off. Like, didn't even listen to the show.
It doesn't have to be awkward, but it is.
It's very awkward.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't make it like that.
No.
But I just, whatever.
Whatever, man. So.
Great event.
Yeah. Hey, shouts out to you and Steven Techi, man, for putting on
a good show,
a great event. Got to see Techi out in front of the cameras a little bit.
Yes, man. I thought he did well.
I thought he did good,
He spoke
too.
very well. He was super excited about the event, and he answered questions and shit from the media really well.
Dude, looking lean, getting ready to compete for his first time coming up.
So that's this Thursday.
Yeah,
American Nationals.
Hey, shout out to Techi, man, doing a great, involved in Jiu Jitsu now, kicking butt, man. So it's cool to see him out there. But Claudia, she sat next to me the whole time. We were talking about the show, and she was asking my opinions on it, and. It was good, man. It was a cool show. We had some different rules for some different things. So for those who didn't see, I saw a couple previews about the event, and one of the things that I had to agree with, man, like, this is a great introduction to jiu-jitsu for a lot of just MMA fans, for people who maybe aren't well versed in watching competitive grappling. Because you had 3 different UFC stars on there. You had Roman Bravo Young on there, the wrestling sensation. What did you think about the 3-4 minute rounds?
That's what I was going to ask you.
For the Glover. I wasn't a fan of it.
It's just weird.
It is weird.
Like to watch them after the first round go back and kind of sit in their corners on the floor or stand up or just whatever. It's just like, is it just to rest because of older age? What was the purpose of it?
I'm not sure.
Or is it because they've fought MMA before, so they wanted to kind of mimic that?
I think it was kind of mimicking because it was 3-4 minute rounds. We did 10-point must system scoring for it. So I think that was more to appease the MMA fan, but also those dudes needed it. Like, they needed that 1 minute break helped them, even though, man, both the times that the round ended, like, Anthony Smith was on Glover's back when the first round ended, and then then
Glover got the sub, didn't he, or no?
No,
he won by decision.
He won by decision, and then
he got the sub in their fight.
Yes,
Fight,
So, but it was cool. It was cool. I'm not particularly crazy about the rest round. I would rather see, and I know you and I have talked about this before, because we don't do a point system. Like just like Sub Hunter, we don't do a point system there. I think it would really increase the action, because what we saw a lot was, if you notice the game plan with like Nicky Rod, he wasn't trying to wrestle the first 8 minutes. He was just trying to take his time, get where he needed to go, and get to the overtime where he excels at escaping.
Yeah, see, I don't really know if I like that.
I would rather see this. I would like to see the first. Let's say we do the first 5 minutes or first 6 minutes, just like it is.
How does Nicky Rod win if there's no OT?
He doesn't. He doesn't. Yeah.
So a no time limit does not favor him.
I don't think maybe.
Or if we just did 10 minutes straight, no OT, and then we're going to.
I would rather see us do 5 minutes of just the way it is, and the last 3 minutes there is a point system. Where now, if there's
that's how we did our overtime. Remember?
Yes. If there's only a few minutes left, you got to push and try to score points. Oh. Because as it is now, you kind of wait to the end, and if you're Nicky Rod, look, he's almost impossible to submit off his back. Dude, those armbar escapes, he was going to let his arm snap for 30K. Like, he did not care. Big Dan had that armbar in deep. But I think this type of rule set really favors him, as well as, but it's become very popular.
Well, see, that's why when I started Submission Hunter, I said, shit, if you're not getting the submission, it's going to be a fucking draw. So you're not going to be a winner. And if you're the type of guy that's okay with the draw and not making no fucking money, then we can do that. If you tell somebody you're not going to get paid and you're not going to be declared the winner if you don't get the submission, I feel like it makes these guys push to try and because they want that money.
Dang, what was that?
Golly, what the hell?
Did aliens just land?
Somebody's vibrator.
Wayne must be on his phone.
I'm definitely on my phone, but
Wayne has no interest in that.
No ringing going on my end.
Hey, shout out to Nicky Rod taking home $30,000.
Yeah, then the Gordon call out at the end.
It's never gonna happen.
I'm over here trying
USADA?
I'm over here trying to look up Justin Bernard's hair.
Did you?
You asshole.
Did you hear Gordon in the press conference after?
What did he say?
That steroids aren't illegal in Jiu Jitsu. So why would he do USADA testing?
I know, but he's claiming that Nicky's on steroids, and Nicky's saying he's not.
He's claiming Nicky's on steroids, but he's also never denied that he's on steroids.
Yeah, right.
He's just saying, hey, you're also doing this stuff.
But Nicky's claiming that he is not, and that if Gordon was not, there'd be a huge difference in their matchup.
Maybe.
I mean,
I don't know. I think it's hard.
Who knows who is and who isn't?
It's hard when it comes to that debate because, for the last few years, I mean, even at ADCC, Nicky Rod is clearly the silver medalist. He's the second best to Gordon Ryan.
But he's saying he's natural and Gordon's not.
Yeah, but you're in a sport that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but, I mean, ethically it matters. But for Nicky it does. Like, he's like, man, this dude's ahead of me because...
Hey, man, you can take steroids too.
Hey, listen, I'm telling you right now, at no point have I ever checked my bank account and went ethically.
I think it's just more of a personal thing with Nicky that he's saying the only reason this guy can beat me is because he's taking steroids. So, I mean, what would happen if Nicky does take them? Then do it, right? And see if it evens the playing field? Do you do that, or...?
I think it's hard to fathom, and listen, I'm not calling Nicky Rod a liar, but it's hard to fathom an athlete, one that looks like him. That dude is ripped, but also at his level in a sport that everyone's doing it, that he's the one guy who's not.
He looks big, but in my opinion, he doesn't look unnatural. Like he looks big. Like
I can see that.
If you work hard and eat right and shit and train as much as he trains, I feel like you can look like that.
Gordon looks like.
Gordon looks like a fucking bodybuilder at sometimes. Yeah. And Galval. Like, Galval looks like a fucking...
that dude's...
Like, that's different.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some guys that look like that. Like, what's his name? Tyson, that used to train with us. What's Tyson's last name? Williams?
Tyson Williams.
Tyson Williams.
He was jacked.
That dude was a Greek god walking around.
See?
Yeah.
That's how Nicky Rod looks.
Him the other day,
okay.
What happened to that guy?
So, all right. Do you think Tyson was clean?
Yeah, we drug tested him for his pro fights. He didn't fail his drug test.
I don't know too many. I don't know too many NFL guys, and he was from that line that are clean.
He was clean.
Now
I mean, he was clean according to.
They take drug tests, because they know it's coming on that date.
Yeah, but you can't get the testosterone out of your system that quick.
you can start to taper off your levels.
It takes time, and our drug tests are random. They don't know if they're getting tested or not.
True. And again, I'm not saying Tyson's on it. I'm just saying most athletes at this high level
are
on something. They're on something.
Well, give me an example of a guy that looks pretty jacked that's not on nothing that we've seen.
Nicky Rod, I guess. Like he would be the only if he's truly not on it, and he has taken plates for more dates, has done some more plates for whatever.
I'm trying to think somebody that we know that's fought for us that looks
jacked. That's probably not on it.
Yeah.
Jace Pitre.
Sean Kennard.
What? Sean
Kennard.
I don't know. Sean's jacked.
Listen, dude. Sean's 34, 35.
Yeah, he just made his pro debut.
Listen, Sean Kennard. Sean Kennard is either the most ripped 35-year-old dude who's never put a needle in his butt, or he's doing liquid testosterone. I don't know, man. Like that dude is jacked. To me, he doesn't have the look. He looks more like the Liver King than he does like someone who's not on steroids. Now, that could be a compliment to him as well through hard work. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to not look at any athlete these days without going, I don't know, man. Like,
yeah, it is.
It's really hard because it's so easy to get it.
What happened with Conor? He's not going to fight Michael Chandler after all?
Evidently,
it's not looking like it
because he missed the date for USADA.
I don't think he ever planned on fighting him. I think he wanted to push Black Forge Stout and all of his magic stuff that he was doing. I see.
It's either that or they're trying to save it for 300, UFC 300.
So he would have to. So it's 6 months from the time of doing your first test. He still hasn't entered the pool, as far as we know. I don't know, like. I don't know if I'm even excited for a Conor fight anymore.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong.
Rich on that one.
I'm going to buy that pay-per-view if it's him and Chandler, you know.
I'll come to your house and watch. I'm not going to buy it.
All right. I mean, there's a lot of matchups.
I'll bring a bottle of Howler with me and
for
watch
sure.
it at your house, but I'm not going to pay for it.
And speaking of which, today for our first time on the show, we got our Live Oak Vodka.
Boom, the official vodka of Fury FC, Live
Zoom
Oak.
in right here.
And so this is there's nobody to zoom in. Diego's not here.
Zoom in right here.
Zoom in right here, Diego.
Get in there. And hey, I got a little Live Oak vodka and some orange juice today.
What do you think?
It's delicious. It's delicious, man. Like I'm not a big vodka drinker, but I would drink this. I drink this all the time.
I'm gonna play with some recipes.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this and some pineapple juices and some stuff.
Bloody Sundays with Live Oak vodka.
There you go.
I'm digging it.
Bloody Sundays at Fury FC.
And we've also got our Howlerhead whiskey up here as well for the show.
You have the monkey spirit in us. The only
we also got that Wu-Tang Clan.
That Wu-Tang Clan is not a sponsor, but I'd welcome to send us some
you're
cash.
Rocking that Live Oak.
Got that Live Oak vodka. And Brett the Hitman Hart. That Roots of Fight have done nothing for us.
Neither has Wu-Tang Clan.
So,
let's be honest.
So for the FPI, what was the most exciting match?
Most exciting match at the FPI
Roberto
was
Jimenez.
probably Roberto Jimenez. Yeah.
Roberto versus Nicky.
That was awesome.
Huge size difference, but they pushed the pace.
That was so awesome.
Roberto gave no fucks about the size.
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing to watch. Now, that's another guy who says he's completely natural.
I believe it.
Yeah. That kid has been. Can you imagine? Like, y'all remember when that kid was like pushing a skateboard around like local competitions, and then he would run in, he would compete, he'd smash some other poor kid that got thrown into a division. He'd then go compete with the adults, and he'd get back on his skateboard and skateboard around the arena.
Nice.
Like, and now here he is. He travels around the world. He's one of the top competitors in the world, and his match with Nicky was one of the most exciting. What about Big Dan again coming with these creative submissions?
2 subs. He was the only guy that got a couple subs.
Yeah. So in his first appearance, he hit the mother's milk smother against Ricardo Evangelista. And then on this one, he hit that knee bar from the rubber guard.
Then he came to Sub Hunter, and did he rear naked choke Roger?
Yeah. I wasn't going to talk about that one. Shout out to Roger. Roger's bringing him out for a seminar.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. It's
when?
like, I'm not sure. I'd like to bring him out for a seminar.
Well, he's going to be here, and he's looking for a place to do a seminar the 22nd.
I know.
Because he's competing for us on the 23rd.
I got to make sure we get enough
registration.
Registration.
We'll start collecting right now.
You see, but I need about 60 people to come.
No.
Yeah.
He's going to be here anyways. He's coming for weigh-ins.
No, I've talked to him. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'll talk to Big Dan some more. I'd love to host Big Dan for a seminar. Like, is he a purple belt?
Yeah.
Could you ever imagine, like, the two guys we're talking about right now the most, Big Dan, purple belt, Nicky Rod just got his brown belt, and they're two of the most feared grapplers in the world, and they're going against black belts like it's nothing. Like, it wasn't like that when we were coming up at all. Like, a black belt was this scary, revered thing.
Well, depending on where you got it.
Very intimidating.
Depending on where you got it from, but also depending on the black belt you were rolling with too at that time. Because you're right. You know, I remember being like a blue and purple and rolling against some black belts and thinking, all right, whatever.
And I'm not too far off.
But I can tell you the first time I rolled with Macaco, I was like, I don't know shit. I don't know anything. And then I went with Robert Drysdale.
Yeah, that's different.
And I remember thinking, like, as we were rolling, have I been lied to this whole time? Are people just giving me belts? And, like, am I just showing up to enough classes? And
courtesy stripes?
Yeah, that's what it – there's such
my tuition.
There's such a different level.
Yeah.
There's such a different level. There's black belts, and then there's fucking black belts,
Multiple
man. And then there's
black
these
belts.
world-class black belts. Like, and this is no offense to you or to Jace or anyone. You guys are Travis Took black belts. But Travis Took is fucking scary monster to roll with. Now, that doesn't mean you guys aren't, but I can tell you now, like, every person who's ever rolled with Travis comes back and is like, okay, that's different. Like, he's like a different thing. And I remember the first time I got to go roll with Travis, I was like, dude, is everything he grabs a grip? Like, everywhere he grabs, does his pressure ever stop?
Danny Hodge grip strength.
And then now, when you think about Travis compared to other, like, elite grapplers, as you go up the scale, I'm sure, no offense to Travis, there's black belts who think, like, well, Travis ain't shit. Could you imagine, like, being so good that you look at other black belts and you're like, that's nothing? Like, world-class guys, like, that's nothing.
You got too much time to train. You got too much fucking time on your hands to train. Fuck that.
I'd like to get laid, you know?
Yeah, me too. I like to spend time with my wife.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I like to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Do shit.
Yeah, have a business, make
Yeah.
some money.
Yeah, I don't have time to train 3 times a day.
No, babe. I mean, shout out to those guys that do. And it's really cool for us to have them on Sub Hunter and now on the Fight Pass Invitational. It's been great. What was your? I'm assuming same most exciting match, same Nicky and.
I think so.
Yeah. What were you surprised Nicky Rod beat Big Dan?
Not really surprised. I don't. But did that happen? That didn't go to. They went to overtime, right?
They went to
Yes,
overtime.
They went to overtime.
And
Nicky subbed him with a rear naked.
So Big Dan had 2 really deep arm bars that he got out of, and then Nicky subbed him at the end with a rear naked choke.
So Big Dan started on Nicky's back first, right?
The first time he was on his
Nicky
back.
escaped really quick.
Yep.
So then he went to armbar the next
Yeah.
time. Yeah. And then he almost had the armbar.
Twice.
Well, the first time he really almost had it, and then the second time he grabbed the armbar, Nicky escaped quicker.
No, that's flipped. So the first time he grabbed it, he did that flip and rolled out.
Oh, that's right.
The second time is when he had it extended,
Yes.
cranked out.
Okay, so so Big Dan must have felt something the first time. He's
to
like,
want to go back a second time, yeah.
Okay, I think I can get this. I just fucked up right here.
Yeah.
And he did fix his mistake. Nicky just wasn't tapping for shit because I saw some photos.
Oh, dude, it was all extended out.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, this dude's probably hurting right now.
Oh yeah. Well, and if you look
but he left with 30 G's.
Well, how about this? He gets his arm. Let's say broke, like as Gordon them say, he got his arm broken, still won.
I don't think it broke his arm.
No, but he's still after that. Your arm's completely stretched out. Now you got to take the back of Big Dan.
But did you see?
And he submits him.
You could see where he turned like this.
Yeah.
He had it turned, so it wasn't really.
Yeah,
gonna
and
be extended the way.
That's one of those, like, if you've rolled long enough, yeah, you know, if you can just get your wrist over a little bit, you've got a little bit more range to be able to move and play with.
And he did it, man. He made the minor adjustments to keep him from having a tap or get his shit broken.
I mean,
shout out to him.
Hey,
man.
overall, it was a great event.
They were in the finals, right? That was it.
Yeah.
It was good. It's a great show.
I can't wait till we can announce the next one.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some fun with that. But we got Submission Hunter 85.
4.
Jeez, 84 coming up. 723.
Speaking of 85, though, dude, I was really happy with the turnout in Killeen.
Yeah.
Like, so a lot of times when we go to a city and we do a photo shoot and we get tickets out for the first time, like to these guys, they're taking like just the minimum.
Yeah.
I mean, these dudes really overdid it. And they're like, hey, I already got people that want this many tables, this many whatever. And since then, what's today? Monday?
Yeah.
Today's Monday, right?
Well, today as we're recording is
Monday.
Monday, July the 3rd.
Okay. So I've had my days are fucked up.
Yeah.
Just from last week. But I've had dudes already reach out and say, hey, man, my tables are gone. I need some more. It's like,
so
okay.
I'm quick to judge, too.
We added Ray Rodriguez to the card.
Yeah.
Which is going to draw some numbers in.
In Killeen?
Yeah.
Kick-ass.
You can generally tell by the people who turn out for the photo shoot, the number of people that turn out, how the tickets are going to move at the event.
Right.
Because if 20 people show up, fuck, man. That's nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's not a good look.
But this was packed, man. It was packed out. A super great turnout for this.
And if they didn't make it, they had already hit me up and said, hey, man, here's my address. Can you get me some tickets? I'm going to send my photos in. I'm competing at whatever this weekend. I can't make it.
Yeah.
So everybody has been in contact that is on that card.
So we've got
for the first time in a long time.
So we're going to be doing an 8-man bracket, no-gi sub. We got Big Dan coming out for this bracket, and we'll announce some other names. Hopefully today I'll be able to finalize the rest of the names that we're announcing. Yeah. This is going to be a fun tournament.
It is.
Another fun tournament. Sub Hunter is growing at leaps and bounds. For those who don't know, if you haven't heard, you can now find us exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. Excited to be there and to really push and grow jiu-jitsu, man. And Eric, man, shout out to you, dude. You're getting everything on Fight Pass. And now you're not just growing jiu-jitsu like with Sub Hunter, but for those who don't know, like you're the guy behind Fight Pass Invitational, man. Like you and Techi are there together working on all this, and it's cool to see, man. Like I usually think of you as this gay brown guy, and this is like it's cool to see, man. Like you actually putting on big boy pants and going to work some days.
We put I got Daniel Pineda match for Sub Hunter too.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Gabe Macario.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
They're both featherweights.
Yeah.
They both fight MMA.
All right, speaking of fun, speaking of MMA.
Make it combat jiu-jitsu rules.
We have got a special guest in the house today. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jace Petree.
Jack Pitch.
Diego, put in some clapping right there. Let's get some clapping. Maybe a smattering some booze. Smattering a little bit of booze right there.
How's Jace looking on that?
He definitely needs a refill.
No, I'm good.
He definitely needs a refill. Have you not had lunch yet, sir?
Let me see if his eyes look small yet.
Yeah,
No, I haven't.
Jason's trying to monitor what he drinks before he gets on the show, so he can monitor what he says during the show.
Yeah, I gotta drive home too. So
I think that's more what he's worried about. Jason worried about monitoring what he says.
I'll follow
Ubers.
him.
There's
follow
Ubers. It'll be fine.
yeah, I'm supposed to meet my wife after this, so I need to be able to talk.
Yeah, I can speak from experience. If you have too much to drink, Eric will get you an Uber.
And Wayne will try to crawl out of them.
It's a wise
That
policy.
is the truth.
It's a wise policy.
Yeah.
Dude, it's awesome to have you on the show. One of my favorite fighters to watch. It's been a minute.
It's
been a while.
It's been a hot minute.
Man.
But as I've said many times, you were involved in one of my favorite fights of all time. You and Jesus Rivera. That was just. Again, man, when I go back and I tell Jesus Rivera has been involved in 2 of my favorite fights of all time. And when
Who's the other one?
Oh, dude, him and Ray Trujillo won. Like the first time they fought, it was very similar to his fight with him, where it was just 2 savages, dude, who weren't going to back up at all. I don't remember if it was Legacy 2 or I don't know if it was 1.
It was 1.
It was 09, right?
It
So
was
it was
1.
1. So
Yeah.
it was
That was the first Legacy.
It was the first
Yeah, the
one.
first Legacy.
The very first one.
Wow.
That's fucking
I
awesome.
commentated the second one actually.
Dude, that's amazing.
When Ray and Jesus fought, I commentated that fight. So it was I didn't fight on that card, but it was a good one too.
So that was 2009.
Yeah.
And that was your second fight at that time?
That was my second pro fight, yeah.
Yeah.
I had 2 amateur fights. A few guys backed out of that too. We had one fight where we drove all the way. I know you guys had Michael Corley on the podcast and Eve, and we drove. Andrew, myself, and Corley and Travis drove all the way to Shreveport, Louisiana, And I made weight. I cut the weight. The guy came in overweight. It was for Gil Guillory, USA MMA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I made weight, cut the weight, made the weight, and the guy, I'll never forget this guy's name was Benny Serrano. And he missed weight by like 6 pounds, something ridiculous. And I was under like a pound, and I said, I don't care, whatever, let's do it. And so the fight was on, and walking to the arena the next day, he called me and said, your fight's off. And I'm like, what? Why? And he's like, there's too many fights on the card. The commission cut fights. And I'm like, well, why does my fight get cut? Andrew's fight didn't get cut. And he's like, just did. And so, I mean, those are the breaks, like I tell these guys that are amateurs, I mean, you get no money. You work your ass off. You cut all the weight. You drive all the way to Shreveport on your own dime, and then you don't get to fight. It sucks. So after that, I was like, I'm not doing amateur anymore. Like, I'm at least going to get paid. And so that's when I turned pro, and then I had a pro debut in 2009. And then, like, 2 months later, I did Legacy.
So what led you to MMA? Like, how'd you get started? Were you like a martial artist as a kid, or? Yeah,
I mean, I've always been this way. It's just weird. Like, I can remember standing in my living room. I was born in Mobile, Alabama. And I can remember standing in my kitchen looking out the window, and some kid was riding his bike, and I was like, I'm going to go fight that kid. like straight up. Like,
listen, that is the most Jace Pitre thing I've ever heard.
Right. Straight up. I was like 5 years old, man. I don't know what it is.
Like, you doing riding your bike on my street?
I just got this hate in my heart, and it's got to get out sometimes, man. I'm a violent guy. I don't know.
This kid, I'm going to go fight this kid right now.
That's so good.
What is that, Mongoose? This is a BMX street, boy.
Yeah. And so I don't know why I'm like that. I'm just born with it. Like, my son's not like that. My dad's not like that. So, like, we were playing golf the other day, and this fucking asshole hit into me. And nothing makes me madder than to get hit. Like, if you hit me, like, and even if it's, like, on accident, like, I just get mad. And the fucking ball landed, like, right next to me, and I got so mad, like, infuriated. And my dad's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I want to beat that guy's ass so bad right now. It's like Happy Gilmore, But no, I mean, to answer your question, I've always been interested in martial arts. I love martial arts growing up. I started out with Taekwondo. My parents couldn't really afford to put me in martial arts. But I started out with Taekwondo when I was like 14. And that's like right when the UFC came out. And that's when Royce Gracie was in the UFC. And I was like, man, I want to do that so bad. But in 1994, 1993, there was no, there was no jiu-jitsu at all, like zero. And so I started with Taekwondo, and then I quickly realized, like, this sucks. Like, it's bullshit. Like, and then I was doing some other things, and so I quit for a while. And then once I graduated college, or I didn't graduate college, once I left college, I decided to seek out a jiu-jitsu gym, and I found this guy, William Vandry, in Austin, Texas, and he was a Carlos Machado black belt. He had just gotten his black belt.
You were living in Austin?
Yeah. I had moved to Austin because I was at LSU on an athletic scholarship, and I decided to stop doing that and be an idiot and give up my scholarship.
What sport were you playing?
Swimming and diving.
All right.
Yeah, I was like a platform diver. But
I can see Jace up top. Fuck this water.
I've got nothing for
I was good, man. I was good. I mean, I went to.
They're on athletic scholarships.
I went
so clearly.
to Junior Olympic trials. I went to senior nationals. Like, I placed. I mean, I was good. I dedicated most of my time to that just because, I wanted to go to college on it. Anyways, long story short, I ended up in Austin, and I was bartending and working at a bar, and I was like, the first thing I'm going to do when I get there is train jiu-jitsu. And so I started training jiu-jitsu in like 2002, and then moved back to Houston. Started training with Alvis Solis, and I was out in California for a little bit, and I got my blue belt out there by a guy named Fabio Santos in San Diego. He's a Hickson black belt, and Holds Gracie. And so then when I came back from California, I kept training jiu-jitsu with Alvis, and then Travis was in Brazil at the time. And he came back and started a jiu-jitsu gym out of his garage. And one of the guys at Alvis's gym was a guy named Don Mauser. And he was like, hey, you have like the exact same body type as Travis. Like, you guys are both super athletic. I was a blue belt. He was a black belt at the time. And so he's like, you should go and check Travis out. And so I went over there. I called him up and said, hey, I'd like to come train. And I went over there. And I heard you talking earlier. I rolled with him. I was a blue belt, and he was a black belt. But, I mean, at the time, I was like, beating brown belts and like purples. And he smoked my ass so fucking hard that I felt like I didn't even know like 1 second of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And it was like this dingy, dirty garage. And he's like, so you're going to sign up? And I'm like, this isn't a real school. Like, what do you mean sign up?
Yeah.
Like, I tried to give him like $20. Like, hey, thanks, And he's like, well, what are you doing? Are you going to sign up? I'm like, sign what? Like, it's a fucking garage, dude, in Cypress, Texas.
It's like, do you mean just show up?
Yeah. So I signed up, and I was like one of his first students.
Oh,
and
goddamn, I love Jace.
And it was, and it was like these fucking killers were coming over there too, because like everybody knew Travis from before when he went to Brazil. Well, he got even better, and so when he came back, like he had already trained with Eve, Carlo Prater, like all these guys. And
how long was he in Brazil? Do you know?
He was in Brazil for 2 years.
Okay.
Like, and he learned how to speak Portuguese there and everything. And he used to train with Tim Crater before he left, and that's how he met Eves. And he, Eve was at Saul's at the time. And so when I go over there, like not only am I getting rolled up by Travis, like fucking Eve Edwards is in there, Carlo Prater, Jason Rogers, what's that guy, the bowling ball looking dude, Marcus
Hicks.
Marcus Hicks was there. Like these guys were just smashing the shit out of me. But then I would go anywhere else and like just roll dudes up.
Talk about a room full of killers.
Dude, it was
like,
and it was gritty.
Yeah.
There was no AC. There was nothing, man. It was just people who just wanted to train, and it wasn't any prima donnas in there. It was just guys who just wanted to train and wanted to get better. There was no walkout fucking t-shirts. There was none of that shit. And that's kind of where I came from, and that's how I met Lewis Wood, because he was Eves' boxing coach at the same time. That's how I met Michael Corley. That's how I met James Head. Like all these guys that were just like absolute studs that most of them end up in the UFC or fighting at the high level. And that's kind of really how I got started. I know that was a long answer, but
That was great, man.
Somewhere in there, you became a movie star
that was way before.
before training.
Yeah, that was before training.
All right, so you had a porn career. Tell us
No,
about
I
this.
didn't.
When
Don't
I
be
was
spreading
looking up
rumors,
Jace,
man.
I found that.
My wife is gonna watch this. No.
So how did that was when you were in Austin or you were in California?
So that was when I was in Austin. So what happened is I left LSU and I moved to Austin because I wanted to train, and my friends were going to it was called Southwest Texas at the time, and I just wanted to hang out with them. I just was being a dumbass.
Party school.
Yeah. And so I moved to Austin and started living with my buddy Sean, and got a job on 6th Street. And I was just working the door one night, and a casting director just came up and was like, hey, doing an open casting call for this movie. It's got Robert Duvall and Haley Joel Osment in it, and love for you to come down. And so I was like, man, what the fuck is this guy? Like, I didn't believe him,
Jason,
Kick your ass.
See, Jason,
How dare you offer me a movie role?
I didn't train anything. He didn't offer me a movie role. He just said, hey, come down.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to a couple people in the bar after he left, and he's like, so the guy's like, yeah, they come down here all the time. Like, don't waste your time, And so I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to waste my time. And then that next morning, the casting call's at like 9 a.m. and I woke up at like 8. And I never wake up that early because of work. I was bouncing. And so I woke up at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, fuck it. And so I went and ended up getting a call back. And the way that they do those is they just keep whittling it down, like smaller and smaller and smaller. And ended up just getting the part and doing a movie with Robert Duvall and Michael Caine and Haley Joel Osment.
So what was the movie called?
It's called Secondhand Lions.
Dude, wait a minute. Hold the fuck up.
Yeah, you didn't know this?
That's my favorite movie of all time.
You didn't know this?
Like that is so Robert Duvall looks a lot like my grandpa that I grew up with, and he was that old school. Like I watched him fight dudes and so that was me and my son's favorite movie growing up. Like I didn't know you were in that movie.
He was in that bar scene.
The bar scene?
Wait, where he fights the kids?
That's me.
That
yeah.
makes so much fucking sense.
See, that makes like the first thing that comes up.
Like I
Google
really did. I didn't know you were in that movie. That's literally like that's my favorite.
We'll
movie
get the
of all
autograph
time.
later.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
It ain't
watching
worth
that
shit.
tonight.
Well, I'm sure you still get paid every time that movie shows, right?
I
You
get
royalties?
yeah, it's in perpetuity, so I get residuals. So like I get what we call it mailbox money. So like I'll come home one day and there'll be like a $200 check in the mail.
Well, I remember. So when I first
It's pretty
met,
cool, actually.
when I first met Jace, it was like 2007, maybe.
Yeah.
It was probably
07.
2007. It was maybe 3 months after I started training with Travis, and I was looking. I wanted to fight.
Yeah.
Like I started with Jiu Jitsu with Travis, and then I was like, man, I need a striking coach. Travis is like, here, call this guy. So you remember when I called you?
Yeah, I do.
I called him a couple times and he didn't answer, and then I left him a voicemail, and I think he called me back.
He wanted to kick your ass when you left the voicemail.
He probably. What did you think? When I called you, what did you think?
Well,
He thought I was full of shit.
Send a text. Why are you leaving a voicemail?
Travis is like the best human on the planet. Like, if you guys, I know we talk about Travis a lot, but I can't stress it enough. Like, him and I have been through some shit together. But I'm telling you that to tell you that he had already like told me who you were before you called, and he's like, yeah, I think this guy, wants to train. He's not like full of shit, and I think he's got money. Like, because a lot of the guys that come in don't have money, and they want. Hey, that does matter. I mean, you can laugh all you want, but like, fighters don't pay your bills, man. No. Like, I've owned a gym. I've owned a gym. I've been a fighter. I've been a trainer. Fighters don't pay your bills. The guys that pay your bills are the guys that keep the doors open, are the guys that are the couch potatoes. And so, like, for me at the time, I needed money because I wasn't, really doing anything except for training and fighting. And so he's like, hey, he basically told me that not to tell me like go after this guy. He was like, he's not wasting your time. And so when you called me, that's when I called you back. And then I remember talking to you, and I remember saying, I remember the conversation pretty clear. And I remember saying, like, I couldn't do it on a certain day, and I tried to get you to switch to another day. And you were like, no, I'm not doing that. And I was like, okay, all right. The guy's not like a pushover either. So I was like, all right, well, I'll make it work. And then, I remember that.
I had went in there and I paid for like, I don't know how many private lessons for jiu-jitsu. And then I was like, man, I wanted to do all these privates before I got on the mats. So I actually knew something when I started rolling with guys. And then I wanted to do the stand-up, and Travis directed me to him. But my schedule was kind of fucked up because I ran the ambulance company at the time. Yeah. So I would go to my ambulance office at like 3 a.m., and I would be there till probably 8 or 9 a.m. And then I think I was meeting Jace at 10 a.m. and doing a private stand-up. And then at 11 o'clock, I would go straight into jiu-jitsu and train till 1. So I was pretty dedicated, but he was really blunt. Like, when we first started striking and shit like that, he was like, you don't know shit.
I think, like, I want to talk about that a little bit, though, because I think I've matured and grown up a whole lot. I'm going to be 44 this year. And I talked to Travis about that because I go on Wednesday nights to train with him. And I was like, man, I think I lost a lot of friends and a lot of students because I had a giant ego. I really did. I had a huge ego, and I think I was insecure about a lot of things. And so as I've grown and matured, I've been able to, like, understand that. So I think my whole thought process behind that was like, well, if I project this person, then these guys will respect me more, or they'll think that I'm really who I say I am. And really, in reality, it just made me look like a fucking asshole, And I lost a lot of, I think, potential students because of that.
I feel like a piece of shit because that's one of the things I like the most about you.
Well, I remember
this whole time because like, even recently, I had a guy fighting, wasn't fucking listening. And we go in the corner, and Jace was one of the cut men. Jace's like, keep your fucking hand up. Your coach is telling you to keep your hand up.
Well, when it comes to fighting advice, like, I'm going to say what I think.
There's no pussy in fighting.
No, dude, not at all. I still think, like, I appreciate the bluntness because I'm also a person who I'm like, dude, you fucking suck. What are you doing? Yeah. Like, and so I appreciate, especially when we're watching fighting, because, I think had you come around at a different time, like 10 years later, a 10-year difference from when you started in 2019 versus I think your talent. God, you were fucking you were a UFC dude. Yeah. Like
there
you
was
trained
no
in these room full of killers
back then.
There wasn't like he had. I don't know. You were working all kind of shit. Every time I turned around, you were doing something different, like a new job that you had to do, and you couldn't train as much as you wanted to, or fight as much as you wanted to.
Yeah, I had an injury as well too. I had a bad injury, like a neck injury, where I had 3 herniated discs in my neck, and I had like atrophy in my right arm, and so I would be like, curling, I don't know, like 35, 40 pounds with this hand, and I couldn't even do like a 5 on this hand. Yeah. And so that took a long time to heal, which really kind of took me out of fighting. And then when I came back in 2013 to try to have another fight, in the very first round versus Hassan, I took him down, and I had like a stinger in my right arm. And so I fought that whole fight, and if you watch that fight, like, I barely won the fight. Yeah. It was a tough fight, and I didn't throw any punches after the first round because my arm was totally trashed.
Hassan Walker.
And so at the end of the day, like, I think, could I have, actually got there? I mean, maybe, but I didn't. So what's the difference?
Yeah, I think it's on this end, it's cool to be able to sit back and appreciate, like, your mind for fighting now. Like, listening to you, like, I mean, I could say now, one of the most fun things about this job is when I don't have to shoot pictures and I get to sit down and it's me, Eric, Wayne, and either like yourself or Mick or whoever's sitting there between us, Adrian Yanez, who sits down, and just listening to like the conversations that we get to have.
Yeah,
like that's my favorite times in this whole sport, man. It's been really cool to listen to you. Next to us, whether it's been positive or
he recognizes talent, he'll call that out. But if somebody fucking sucks, he doesn't pull any punches. This guy fucking sucks. Pick up his hand, hit the same place every fucking time.
I mean that with the utmost respect, you guys. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it takes a big set of balls to get in there and fight another guy in front of thousands of people. Well, millions now with what you guys got. Yeah. And then, you know, it's different because, like, you see these guys that you watch fights with at a bar, or you'll be at a bar and you hear these guys talking. And, and the thing is like, you know, you can have a fight in a bar, right? You fight a guy, it lasts like 30 seconds. And then maybe you win 100 bar fights. But there's something totally different between training for 8 weeks against a guy who's also training for 8 weeks just to beat you in front of all the people that love you the most.
Yeah.
Like, and that is something that takes a giant amount of courage. So anybody that gets in there, aside from the guys that like never fought before, take a fight on short notice, get beat, and then never show up again, you know, I got a huge amount of respect for it. And I only say these things like just because I have like an eye for like what's going on, and I'm like, God, it's frustrating because I'm like, he could so easily pass the guard right here. Like the guy's legs are fucking wide open, and yet he's just sitting there. But you know, that's the thing. Like, you got to have fight IQ. You have to know like exactly when you can do what you can do. And there's a lot of mistakes that get made at the regional level. So I like to highlight them, and I like to talk about them with you on the side, and get your thoughts and your opinions too, because you guys have some great, you know, insight when it comes to fighting as well. So that's why I think that's where that comes from.
Man, it's funny, when my first recollections and knowledge of you was that I thought you were just a striker. Like from watching you fight, I was like, this guy's a really fucking good striker, man. And I remember Andrew Craig telling me like how good of a striker you were. I'm like, great. And then I don't remember when. I know you got your black belt from Travis.
I did.
And one of these Travis, I always show up at some of these Travis things every now and
then.
then.
Oh yeah, we roll together.
Yeah, I was like, that fucking sucked. Like that was literally like my thought was like, it was a lot like rolling with Travis.
Yeah, he's strong.
And I mean, I'll tell you now, I think to me that's like a massive compliment, man. Like if you roll with like Travis, that's amazing.
Yeah, he's a stud, man.
And I remember we were there, and I don't know how it rotated around, and Jace training at that time, like he not training to fight, he's just rolling, and he's having a good time beating people up while he's rolling. Like you can clearly see he's enjoying that part of it. And I don't know why I'm looking around the room, and he locks eyes, and it's that moment you're like, fuck, all right, I gotta go over there.
You're like, come on.
Yeah. So you get over there, and next thing I know is as we're rolling, I'm like, yeah, this kind of sucks. Yeah, this isn't an enjoyable roll. It was in the aspect of like, I'm rolling with a friend, this is cool. On the other aspect, I'm like, this sucks the entire time, which is something I like. That's the part of it I like.
Treading those deep waters.
Like your knowledge is not just in striking. How long have you been a black belt now?
10 years. Yeah, I got my black belt in August of 2013.
Wow.
And I think I probably would have got it before that, but I left for like 2 years to go to the oil field, so I was only training when I'd come back a couple weeks at a time, and then I'd be gone for a couple weeks. So I think I probably could have got it like around 2010, but I didn't get it till 2013. So, but yeah, I mean, my favorite thing to do was train MMA. It wasn't jiu-jitsu with a gi. Even to this day, like I still, when I go to Travis's, I go on Wednesday nights, and that's no gi. So I like training no gi. Eric likes training gi, which is why we don't get to train together too much anymore. Plus, I work a lot. But
Jace doesn't like to train in pajamas.
I don't blame him.
I mean, I do, I do, and I will train gi. It's just that I just prefer no gi.
Do you think that the gi is essential?
It just depends on what you want to do. Like I do think that these guys, one of the biggest mistakes I see at the regional level for guys that just have a ton of talent, is that they just do MMA classes. They don't train jiu-jitsu in the gi. They don't, and I'll say his name because he's like one of my best friends and somebody I love the most, and I trained with him probably more than anybody over the last 5-10 years, is Oliver Jimenez. I tell him all the time, I'm like, dude, you could be in the UFC. You are so fucking talented, man. But you need to take your fucking stupid ass to a jiu-jitsu class and put a gi on and do it for fucking ever. Like, just keep rolling in the gi. Because I do think it's essential for these guys that just want to be MMA guys because you have to have so much better defense with the gi than you do no gi. Like your chokes, your back defense, like all that stuff. Even mount is harder to get out of because of all the friction and everything. Like, and you'll learn like different little ways to get out of stuff because you can't use the typical power explosive escapes. And so I tell them that all the time. And I think, so in that aspect I do. But if you just want to be a grappler, actually I do think it's essential. I mean, you need to train in the gi if you want to be good at jiu-jitsu, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but I probably got that from you and Travis.
Yeah. I don't like training in the gi just because one of the main reasons I don't like training the gi anymore is because Travis put this rule in place at his gym, which I believe it's very valid, but you have to wear a rash guard under your gi.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate that. It's like choking the shit out of me. And my whole life, I never wore a rash guard under my gi, ever. So that's one of the reasons I don't like training the gi. I feel like I got too much shit
I think
on.
Travis just doesn't want chest hair in his face.
He doesn't. He does not.
That's what it is. It's for sanitary
Back in the
reasons.
day, man, we used to roll like no shirts. Like Todd Moore would come in the fucking gym and like try to wrestle you with like no shirt on.
And some little ass shorts.
Like, dude,
I remember that.
And he's fucking strong and good, and you're like, dude, get the fuck off me, Todd.
Yeah.
It's like sweat dripping in your mouth. It's like,
Well, we had some really gritty training sessions. Like, I'll always tell everybody that Jace was the best coach I ever had. And, like, when it came to striking and shit, I picked up a lot of shit from you. Like, just little things that worked, and I would use those things when I would go to other gyms and spar and stuff. And I still did some of the shit that you showed me. I went to Rich's gym last month maybe, and sparred with some of these younger guys and just, like, doubling up on that jab and fucking
footwork.
Yeah, just shit like that, man. It's like
even at Eric,
fundamentals, man.
Yeah.
Eric at 50 was still in there, like doing a good job, hanging with the young bucks.
Dude, I still go to Corley's all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, not as much as I used to. Like, I would say about like 2 years ago, I was there a lot. Maybe 3 years ago, I was there a lot. Now I just don't want to get hit anymore. And everybody's getting really
good.
Dude, I'm sorry. That's the best striking gym in the city, man. Like, everybody that's in there, like, all his top guys are going to put it on you.
Yeah.
Like, those guys, like, if you think you're good at striking, go there and get rounds. Because those guys can fucking strike.
Yeah,
so my
Heritage
guys try to go twice a week. They go Monday evenings, and Corley does some stuff with my guys on Monday evenings, and then Saturday mornings they try to go out as well.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time they came back from there, they were like, "Yo, what's that?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, that's a life of striking right there." That's what that is.
Yeah, I mean, he does have that. You said it best. He's got a lifetime of knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you go there, the other gym that I was going to for a while. This was about 2 years ago, as I was doing privates with Bobby Benton down at Main Street. So I was hitting pads with him in the mornings just because it worked out for my work schedule. And that dude's a world class trainer.
Yeah.
If you wanna improve your hands, he's got Aaron over there. It's Bobby. You know, Lou's there. Bob Perez is over there. But Bobby he's the real deal, man. I mean, he trains Regis Prograis, and Regis is like one of the best strikers in the world.
Yeah.
But those are the two gyms. You know, I think on the north side you got Alex and Matt, and those guys are always solid. I love those guys. I used to go train with them all the time.
Gracie Baja.
Gracie Baja, the Woodlands. Shout out to them. So those are kind of like my people around. And then, believe it or not, Jesus Rivera actually lives in my fucking neighborhood.
You were
So I
telling me a
trained with
story
him a
about
little
that. Like,
bit, yeah.
you were
Does he still train?
jogging. You were jogging or something?
I
and you saw him or
was just driving, and he was walking his dog, and I'm like, I know that fucking dude. And I'm like, wait a second, that's fucking Jesus. And so I like rolled down my window, and he was like, yeah, you want to train or whatever, come over. So this was about a year ago. We haven't really done it that much anymore, but like
In your garage?
in his garage. Yeah, so I'd go over
Did
there.
you have to sign up? Or?
Yeah.
No, I didn't sign up shit.
Yeah, you gave him
Hey,
20
do
bucks.
you want to sign up for the lessons?
20
or what?
bucks.
No, I'll tell you what, that guy's like, I think he's like 4 years older than me, so he's like almost 50.
Yeah.
That motherfucker can still break boards with his fucking shins. I mean, he still kicks so hard. Like, he's the hardest kicker I ever trained with.
So
ever.
my first day of Militich Fighting Systems, Jesus was with us before he went to 4 rounds, and I came from. Oh, you need a refill, right? So I came from
Jay's
Jackson's.
over here eating ice.
I came from Jackson's and went to Militich here, and our first day in there, I don't know any better. And I went on a Wednesday, and it's sparring night. It's Knockout Wednesday. Hoger and Sullivan and Ratajczyk, and I'm looking around the room, and I'm like, that dude's not too big.
Yeah, let me get the small guy.
So and he was super nice, so welcoming. And then he starts this breathing shit. He's like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, he breathes so hard.
No,
Dude,
know.
he exhales when he breathes, and he kicked me, and I was like, oh, I'm wrestling the shit out of you.
Yeah,
like,
I'm never taking that
again.
again.
Never again.
Dude, that guy kicks. He's the hardest kicker I've ever gone against. Like, he kicks so fucking hard. And all those guys at Heritage can kick. I mean, Jacob Rodriguez, Oliver Jimenez, like, all those guys can kick. But this guy is on a different level, man. I mean, he's got like a whip kick. It's not even like a traditional like Muay Thai kick. It's like it's just fucking nasty,
on pads. He sounds different.
Yeah,
like him hitting pads. Yeah.
I was when I went to train with him. I would hold for him, he'd hold for me, and like my forearms were like sore the next day, like legit sore. I'm like, God damn, I can't believe I fought this guy.
Yeah, I held for him a handful of times over there at Militich, and the same thing. It was one of those times where, like, we would do rounds where you're on pads the whole round. You still switch partners, and then the next couple rounds, now you're kicking, you're switching partners.
Yeah.
And I would like try to turn around when he was looking for a new partner, but no, I'd rather Drew Retaichek kick me all fucking day than
Who'd
him.
you say told you never to do that switch kick again?
Oh, Bob Perez. That was Bob Perez. So I'm a fucking wrestler, man. I started at 9 wrestling, so like I can't kick for shit.
Yeah.
And so like I can kick with my right leg pretty decently. But switch kick, no. And so we're down there. It was Bob and Corley, and it's when they were still together at Houston Muay Thai.
Yeah, Houston Muay Thai. I was there a lot.
And so they had started this program where they were going to certify coaches to be pad holders.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I was one of the first ones to sign up. I was like, fuck yeah, man. Me and my wife are going to do this. Great.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it for my gym. And we get there, everything's going great, man. And Corley and Bob are sitting there, and they're like, all right, so we're going to do the switch kick. But you didn't just hold pads. You had to do all the shit, too. Throw out through one switch kick, and Bob goes, no, don't do that again. He's like, and Corley was like, nah, just clinch him up, man.
I used to tell people like that, too, man. I felt kind of bad. But
They're going to leave your gym, man.
They're like,
Don't do that shit.
they're like, yeah, you got to kick in this V. Not you, Rich. You just go. And I'm like, all right, man.
Yeah, I know that coaching mentality.
You were a good coach then.
Tough
you were a
love.
great coach, man.
Tough love.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I would have never learned the shit that I know now if it wasn't for this dude. Like, I owe everything in striking 100% to Jace.
I appreciate that,
Like,
man.
100%.
Yeah, you're good, too. I mean, this is crazy because, like, we started the MMA program at Tooks. I'm the one who started the striking program at Tooks. I'm the one who started the MMA program at Tooks. And now, like, that's, like, a big part of his income. But, like, when we started it, it was, like, a fighter's gym. And so, like, all the guys that I trained over there, all of them became champions. All of them. Eric, Andrew, Cameron Graves, like, all those guys that were over there, all won a belt. I think maybe there's a few people that didn't. Levi West was there, but for the most part, everybody was just super tough.
Yeah, Levi West as an amateur, though, too, was absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
he only
was
lost
a
to
stud.
Charlie Ontiveros. Chris Lopez was over there. Adam Schindler came over there. Like, I mean, we
Shout
had a
out Chris
crew.
Lopez.
James Head. I don't know if you guys know James Head. Fought in the UFC. Like, one of the toughest guys I've ever trained with. Owns Oklahoma Combat Club now in Oklahoma City. So if you guys are out there, if you know anybody out there, go train with James. He trained with Lovato out there. So, yeah, I mean, it's a small world, you know. But those were the days. That was like 07, 06, 07, 08.
So then just a few years later, you two decide, let's start a rinky-dink MMA promotion.
Well, he started it first.
That was a while
Because he
after.
couldn't get on a card.
We were training in 07.
Yeah.
And then I remember, like, when Travis brought that floor cage in, we were so excited.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, man, now we got a cage to
Yeah.
fucking train in. And really, like, it was me and you and Andrew.
Yeah.
And then,
Andrew Craig.
yeah. And then, like, I remember Tom McCusker would bring, like, Marlboro over.
Yeah,
and Lonnie Vickery, and we would whoop those dudes' ass.
Don't say that.
He did. He did.
Sorry, yeah.
Hey, and
Sorry,
then one time they brought Mike Castillo over there, and he kicked me in the fucking nuts, hard as shit. I remember this clearly. He kicked me in the fucking nuts, and I was like, I'm gonna beat his ass, Jace, as soon as I recover. So, hey, listen. So then I fucking recovered, and the dude's like against the fence. He's like, nah, man, I'm done. And Jason's like, nah, bitch, you're gonna finish the round.
I have no recollection of this. Like,
He's like, no, dude, you kicked him in the nuts. He recovered. Y'all are gonna finish the round now.
Yeah.
Bro, I fucking put it on. I was like, fuck this.
Yeah, we had we had Todd there. Todd was
Todd
super
Moore.
tough training partner.
Todd. Eves would come in.
Eves would come in.
That's when Todd was fighting in like Pride and like
he fought in WC.
WC. He was everywhere at that time, right?
That's the thing about like a lot of people don't know about Todd. Like, dude, that guy was an animal, man.
Yeah.
Like he was so tough.
He fought in Dream. He fought everywhere.
Like I mean, he didn't win at the highest level. I mean, he lost to a couple of really tough guys, John Alessio and a few guys.
Aoki too, didn't he fight?
Yeah.
I think he fought Aoki too.
Yeah.
Twister Todd, didn't he?
I don't remember.
Listen, I wasn't saying how it happened, man. I was just.
I don't remember, but I just remember Todd being the guy that like I'm like, man, I don't want to go against Todd. Yeah. Like he's just so strong.
It was good, man.
Tough as nails.
I remember my first encounter with Todd is you sent me to meet Lewis for the first time at Steel Fitness on Kirkendall. And then, like, I was like, okay, I'm going to go train over there with them. And Todd was there. And he gave me all sorts of fucking hell.
He's
like,
just a great wrestler, man.
See, I didn't even know all that was going on at Steel Fitness. I just thought it was like, like
a gym.
A gym. Like
they had a cage in the back.
That's the thing about Lewis. Like, Lewis will find, like, the biggest rat hole in the fucking world, and he'll make you train there.
Yeah.
And, like, we had this one gym called the Hell Gym, and it was literally a fucking warehouse off of 249, and it had, like, HVAC parts in it or some shit.
Yeah.
And he put his fucking ring in there, and and it was like 1,000 degrees in there, and he'd make us train in there. And, man, you build some resiliency when you train in the heat. You know, they always talk about altitude training, but training in this heat ain't no fucking joke, man.
Yeah, your oxygen.
I mean, it's like your gas tank. You're going to get in shape quick.
You're going to be tested.
Where is Lewis at? Like, some of my best rounds were, like, in just straight boxing were with Lawrence.
This motherfucker took his boxing ring and put it in his goddamn backyard. And
so did you sign up?
Now if you want to go train with
Lewis, you go to his house?
You go to his house and you train in his backyard. So there's this guy.
That's fucking awesome. I love it.
This guy, so if you guys don't know.
MMA is a lot like the pro wrestling business in some regards.
Lewis Wood is like OG world champion boxer, trained with Kenny Weldon. Kenny Weldon trained like Evander Holyfield, Vinny Pazienza, like all these world-class guys.
Yeah.
And Lewis was one of his main guys that he built up from scratch. So Lewis is an old school boxer. And so we would go and train in his backyard. He's a fireman, and he does the badges versus the badges.
Okay.
And so all the firemen will fight the policemen.
Right.
And so I would go there to help get his firemen ready, and I just fucking beat their ass. Like, just go there and just liver shot every single one of them, man. Just whack. But
you're switching to howler now.
Yeah. Huh? That's Lewis Woods, man. He's the hardest motherfucker. Like, there's nobody harder than Lewis. Like, that guy is insane.
So is he still coaching?
Not really. I mean,
there at
dude's
all?
like fucking 60 years old now. So I don't think he really coaches anybody else. He just does like the battle of the badges, and then he's got his girlfriend. She's like a world champion female boxer, and Patrice.
Oh, he's still with her?
Yeah, and so she lives there, and that I mean I only went there like once or twice.
Was that his girlfriend back in the day when we used to train?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Or he just used to coach her, and over the years?
No, that's his girl.
Now you're mine, bitch. Now you're my girl.
You paid enough dues. You're locked in.
Yeah.
You didn't pay
You got
enough
the
dues.
lifetime membership now.
Yeah, so me and I started Cage Combat in 2010, and then in 13 I had this bright idea that the only way to really grow this thing was to do fights. So
Boy, were you wrong.
Fury FC. Jace was a really good friend of mine. I mean, he was one of my best friends, and I was like, man, what do you think about this? Because he had so much knowledge in it, could match fights and shit. And he was like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Do you remember? Somebody asked me the other day, how did we come up with that logo? Remember that first logo?
The old school Fury logo.
It had like two
yeah,
little
the two
fireballs.
Blue fireballs on the
Who
side.
made that
shit,
shit for
whatever.
us?
I fucking don't know. I think Mike Jackson maybe.
Maybe Mike Jackson made that shit.
We had
man.
Mike.
Or Hosanna.
We
One of
had
them.
Mike. No, we had Mike early on. We didn't have Hosanna because Hosanna wasn't even training at the gym that much. I don't think. But I think Mike made it actually.
It might have been. I would assume it was Mike, since for a while, for a long time.
He was doing the posters.
Remember, y'all had the flame on the names too. There was the fire background on the names, which would make sense with the flame if you have that program.
And then somebody asked me how we came up with that name.
I remember that. So
We were just.
we wrote out a list of names of stuff that we thought sounded good, and we narrowed it down to like I think Valor Fighting Championship was one. I think Honor Fighting Championship was another. Fury Fighting Championship was another. I just remember there was like 20 names on it, and we decided for whatever reason. I think just because the way it flew off the tongue, like Fury Fighting, I think that's why we decided on that one.
Yeah.
Eric's been shitting on that logo crediting you for years.
No, I have not.
I never claimed to be a graphic artist, man.
I kid.
But then it turned into this logo.
But then it evolved, and now it's that.
I'm good
at
there. Some things, but drawing isn't one of them. Neither is carpentry. I'm fucking terrible. I can't cut a straight. I can't save my life. But yeah, I just remember we wrote it down and we just chose one. I think.
And my first time I met you was at Fury FC 3 in San Antonio. You met me out back, and then you let me in the building, showed me in and all.
Where were we at? 210 Capone's?
No, it was at Cowboys.
No, it was at Cowboys.
Yeah, it was at Cowboys.
Dude, that fucking place was a dump.
And then the next San Antonio shows at 210 Capone's.
Dude, first of all,
it was so fucking hot in that place, and Jace's like, dude, you can take your jacket off, man. I don't give a fuck. Go ahead. I'm like, dude, no. We got an image to maintain. I'm going to keep the jacket on, but it is hot as fuck in here.
Dude, these guys, listen, I'm not saying that they don't appreciate it because I know that they probably do, but you guys spoiled the fuck out of these guys. They are so spoiled.
These days, for sure.
Dude, they are so fucking spoiled. I fought
the
that,
fight
first of all,
buckets and everything.
Yeah, that
man.
210 Capone's place, somebody got fucking shot in there the very next weekend. The owner got shot in the head.
Got killed.
He got killed.
Holy shit.
No AC. I fought in a fucking nightclub, Chevy's nightclub in fucking Slidell, Louisiana, where dudes are fingers on the cage. I'm literally walking through the crowd to get to the fight.
Bitch.
No, dude, I'm walking. This is a true story. Alex Morano, 17 years old in the back, right? He was warming up this guy named Kurt.
Looks the exact same.
Yeah, he looks the exact same.
Right? He doesn't age the
He was warming up this guy named Kurt May, and I'm getting my hands wrapped by Travis, who, by the way, Travis is an unbelievable jiu-jitsu guy, fucking terrible at wrapping hands, garbage. I had to literally cut them off and wrap my own fucking hands.
Something he's bad at. I needed that in my life.
I'm fucking walking through the crowd, and dudes are jumping into my face, being like, "He had sex with your mama, boy." I swear to God, dude. I'm like, what the fuck? And so I get in the cage, and some chicks, I turn around, some chicks right there, and she's like, "You better get ready." I'm like, what the fuck is this? What? Dude, they're so spoiled. You got hand wrappers, gauze, cut men, TVs everywhere, walkout music. I had no walkout music. When I fought Hassan in Galveston, no walkout music. In a garage at the loading dock in Galveston.
In a ring, boxing ring.
In a boxing ring, yeah. So the guys now, they really have a platform to showcase their skills to the entire world and maybe take that next step for their dreams to come true. Where back in the day, dude, you just fought because you wanted to fight. That was it. And I never thought about getting into the UFC when I was fighting. I never thought I thought about it, but I never thought that it was possible. I just was fighting just because I wanted to fight.
It was very, very different. Like I said, there was no direct path.
No, there wasn't.
It was very, very different.
So when James got into the UFC, James had, him and I were, best buds, training partners. And he fought, God, who was that guy he fought? It was a black guy. He was in the UFC. He was on the Ultimate Fighter. Gerald Harris. He fought Gerald Harris in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he beat Gerald.
And then he went.
And then I called him up, and he was like, I was like, "What's next for you?" And he's like, "Joe Silva just called me, UFC." And I'm like, "How did he get your number?" And he's like, "I don't know."
What promotion did he fight, Gerald Harris?
I don't know.
Can you look that up?
Yeah, I can pull it up.
And I'm like, so he just Joe Silva just fucking private detective around the country, scoping out dudes. Maybe Mick knows. I have no idea how he got people's numbers, but that's how you got in the UFC. Is you just went and fought and won fights, and then hopefully one day you got a phone call on your cell phone.
Extreme Fight Night. So Dale Cook at that time.
Yeah,
I still would have been Dale Cook.
What year was it?
2011.
Yeah, so it seems like longer than that. It seemed like it was. I know that was
12
years ago,
but
it seemed like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Time flies, man.
Yeah.
But
do you ever reflect on where Fury is now and where it was whenever you started it, and think you had a hand in it, man, early on?
I did the first 8 shows with you.
I think so.
7 or 8 shows. But I always knew this, and a lot of people don't, know Eric very well. But I had been training at that time Eric for 5 years, but we had been good friends. So I always at barbecues at his house, or we'd always be doing stuff together. He was a successful businessman before he owned Fury Fighting Championship. And so when I got into Fury with him, I knew that it was going to be a success because this guy, he's just built different. When it comes to shit like this, he will never quit. And for me, like, I'm not built the same way that he is when it comes to this stuff. Like, I don't like to not know how much I'm getting every month. Yeah. I don't like to not know if I'm going to have a job to go to on Monday. Right. And so for me, there was a bunch of other shit that happened. And I don't really want to get into that stuff.
No,
but,
you don't have to dive into that.
But at the end of the day,
you tell us everything.
Well, at the end of the day, like, I knew by stepping away from Fury, and I'm not by any means trying to pat myself on the back. I don't think I've ever told you this, but I know by stepping away from Fury was the only way that Fury was going to get to the next step. Because me in the way was not going to work. Like, it just wasn't. And it's just my personality. And one thing that I am really good at, or like I like to think I'm really good at, is reflection. And so that's one of the main reasons why I left Fury, is because I knew that Fury would have never become what it is today if I was a part of it in that aspect. Yeah. So that's kind of.
It was kind of. I think it was in San Antonio. You, me, and AJ Hoffman. We went out and we had dinner afterwards, and you were kind of reflecting on that, and you were kind of saying some of the things you're saying now. You're like, man, I just don't know if I'm cut out for this.
Yeah.
And you said other things that I won't go into right here, but
yeah.
But you were kind of on your way out, and I remember being kind of worried, like, dude, what's going to happen if Jace leaves? What happens to Fury?
Yeah. Yeah, I knew. I mean, like I said, I'd known Eric at that time for like 5 or 6 years, and we were really close. And I was just like, this guy's going to take it to the next level. He doesn't need me. In fact, I'm probably in the way. So it just worked out. I mean, we did a handshake deal, and then we just called it quits. And
he
then
gave you some mailbox money and sent you underwear or what?
Actually lost money.
Yeah, like, but I'm a movie star. Pay me.
We won't talk about that.
People don't understand, like, the sacrifices and shit, man. Like those 8 shows that we did together, like, there was a lot of shows afterwards where there's like, bro, there's no profit.
Yeah, there's nothing.
There's nothing.
Yeah, most.
Hey, we got $200 each, bro.
And the thing, bro, the thing that bothers me,
I'm just like.
The thing that bothers me the most is when people are like, well, you chose to be a promoter and you promote, you're supposed to promote. That's your choice. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah. But at the same time, if I'm not doing this, you guys don't have a place to do this.
Right.
And there are not many shows that can make it, man. It is a fucking day in, day out grind that this man will never tell you about. Yeah. Like the shit that he puts up with. And I don't have the personality to put up with that type of shit. I just don't. Like, and so this guy.
Somebody's going to get knocked out. At some
it might
point.
be me. Shit.
Yeah. I doubt it.
Every conversation is with Jace going, I'm going to fight that guy. So, yeah, I'm going to have to fight that guy.
So not anymore.
Do you have one more in you?
No.
None?
No.
Not even, hey, Eric,
you lying
not
son
bring back
of a...
Rashid Abdullah.
Well, hold on one second. I do have one more in me if somebody tries to fucking test me on the street or some shit.
Yeah. But he's like, I got plenty of those.
But even like I've come to that where I'm just like, man, even at that point, like, I will walk away as much as I can, man.
I'll walk away.
Because some shit like that's going to lead to somebody with an ego pulling out a gun, and that's...
Exactly.
It's not a fair fight ever, man.
The juice isn't worth the squeeze on the street,
let that dude believe he can beat my ass. Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean... My life is totally different now. Like, I don't train as much, not because I don't love it. It's just, I'm very busy. I have a career. I got a family.
Your priorities change.
Yeah, your priorities change. And that's what I was telling Travis. He's like, I need to see you in the gym more. And I'm like, honestly, Travis, man to man, it's just not that important to me anymore.
He messages me that same thing.
Yeah, it's just not that important to me anymore. I still love to train. I still love to go there. I still love being a martial artist. But it's just not as important to me as it once was, because it was before, like, the most important thing in my life. And now my son is, and my family is, and my career is. And at 44 years old, I don't have the same determination and drive as I once had for it. And so now I just wanted to be a part of the show in some other way. And so that's why I wrap the guy's hands,
Dude, I can tell you now, man, it's awesome to see you at the shows, like wrapping the guy's hands, being a part of it, because I hear you talking to all these fighters, and maybe you don't realize it, but like you give them really quick, good advice, and you're a very calming person in a corner, unless they're fucking up. You know what I'm saying? But like it's good, consistent advice that you're giving them.
Yeah.
That's needed in the moment. And it comes from a place of genuinely caring about that guy in the cage at that moment. And it's awesome to have you at the show.
Well, I think I like leverage the relationships that I have with their coaches, like yourself or Drew or some of the other, like Bob, some of the other guys that I've been around for the last, 15 years. I try not to say anything when I'm working the cuts in the corner unless the corner's just so fucking bad and the guy's just getting murdered. Then I might say something like, hey, man, you can't win the fight off your back, or something like that. Like,
Here's a little nugget.
Like,
we'll slip that one in there.
One of the things that bothered me the most about bad cornering was when guys are just, like, screaming the same shit that, like, fucking jack off in the corner would be screaming.
You know
if
what
he was
to
drunk.
do.
Yeah.
Stand up.
You know what to do.
Get up.
Stand
like,
up.
how the fuck
That's
are you
the
gonna,
worst.
Like,
That's the
what
worst.
What the fuck are you talking about? This dude, he's got a black belt on top of him. He's not going to just get up, man,
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, I think wrapping the guy's hands in the back, I like to talk to them, and I like to ask them, like, most of my dialogue goes, hey, where are you from? How many fights you had? Who do you train with? Like, and it's real genuine conversation. And a lot of times they'll reciprocate that conversation and ask me, well, what did you do? Did you train? And so I'm getting to know, like, a lot of the regional circuit guys from out of Texas, because I know most of the guys in Texas. So it's really cool to be a part of the show and then get to watch a show, afterwards. I can't make every one because you guys are doing so many shows all over the country, but I try to make the ones that I can, and I'm definitely going to the New Orleans show when it comes.
Kick ass. Kick ass.
I got family there.
There was a couple of shows back. It was a Houston show. There was a guy that refused you wrapping his hands. He wanted his coach to wrap his hands. He ended up breaking his hand.
Yeah, I mean, some of the so I'll sound off on this a little bit. I've wrapped over 1,000 guys' hands. I've been doing it a long time. And some of the shit that I've seen backstage is a fucking joke. And the guys usually don't have me wrap their hands because their coach has a giant fucking ego. And he's the one who wants to wrap them. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some really good coaches out there that can wrap hands, and I've seen it. But I've equally seen as many bad hands being wrapped. And I'm actually sad to say this, but I've wrapped probably like over 1,000 guys' hands, and I've only had one broken hand. And I'm not saying that won't happen, because it does happen.
Sure.
Guy punches you on top of the head, or he just, for whatever reason, it just breaks. But some of the shit I've seen, like the hand wrap's not even staying on. Like, it's so bad that the hand wraps are like falling off before they even put the gloves on, or the hand wrap will like slide right off with the glove, or it's just fucking terrible.
I've never understood that, because as a coach, especially when I usually have like multiple fighters on a card, and I consider myself decent. I've never had a guy break. I haven't had 1,000, but I haven't had a guy break a hand. Up to this point. But also, if I know I've got you or Joe or someone who I know has experience in what they're doing and knows how to handle this, fuck, man, I can take care of something else.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I can deal with something else, man.
Here's the deal. Like, if you're a coach and you are adamant about wrapping your fighters' hands, but you don't do it a lot, you should let either Joe, Joel, or myself do it. Just because, number one, why does it matter? Like, we do this all the time. Like, we do this for every single show. So we have more experience than you. We're going to have more experience than you. So why? That'd be like saying, my mom came with me to brain surgery, but I'm going to let her do the fucking surgery because she's my mom.
We bring in the best to take care of you.
You've got 3 really proficient hand wrappers, but yet your ego is too big to allow someone else to do the job. And that's fine with me. If you want to wrap your fighters' hands, fine. Go ahead, do it. But I don't see the point in that, And trust me, I don't want to wrap more guys' hands, because there's been shows where I'm wrapping like 20 fucking guys' hands, and I just don't have the time, you know what I mean? But, at Fury, Joe and Joel can both wrap hands, and once the show starts, I can take care of the rest of the guys. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those deals where, like, the other thing I wanted to sound off too is, like, this is why I don't understand, and I don't know if you guys see this, because you guys aren't really backstage that much.
Yeah.
But there's 2 people back there that sometimes, depending on the person, are super entitled. And those 2 people are TDLR, the doctors, and TDLR, and or some coaches. There's no reason to treat people like shit. I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, if you go back there, like some of these TDLR inspectors, I think they think that because they're not fighters and everybody knows they're not fighters, then they have to project like strength, and they're fucking dicks, man. And you're like, hey, man, like,
sense of humility. There's no sense of humility from
for me, I'm like, why are you fucking being an asshole?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even say anything to you. Like, nothing.
Because they work for the government.
But I don't care.
It's a
I know.
lot of it.
I'll get kicked out.
But that's I'm with you.
You know?
I'll go
Fuck
down on that
you.
ship with you. Yes.
I'll die on that hill, man.
But that's
you know?
what it is. You know, they get a badge or they get whatever title from the state. Like, oh, you have to do what I say because, and it's that small mind.
Yeah.
A lot of it too. If listen, there comes a certain level of self-confidence that takes away the need to feel like you're the biggest dick in the room.
Yeah.
Once you know that you can kick the ass of the biggest dick in the room, it does.
Yeah.
So
it's insecurity.
Yeah. So they're surrounded by guys who can fight, and they're like, you're right. I think a large portion of what you said is 100% right. Where they're like, I need to show them that I'm in charge.
Yeah.
I'm the authority.
How about just fucking talk
I
normally,
get it,
dude?
but like just talk normally, and then if somebody disrespects
gets out of
you,
line, then
you
escalate,
can
right?
have that attitude.
Yeah.
But they come out right out the gate.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is some of the coaches do the same thing, and you're like, hey man, like I know you're seeing me wrap hands, and you think that I'm just working for the promotion, but I'll fuck you up.
I'll kill you,
Like-
motherfucker.
Like I'll at least die trying.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you ride a bike to
Don't
this venue?
disrespect me just because you think my position on the totem pole is low because I'm wrapping your guys' hands.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's super frustrating, man.
yeah.
You know?
It's funny too, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just have this opinion. Generally, the coaches I see who act like that don't have good teams. Like they generally are guys with maybe not a lot of experience, or they have a lot of fighters, but they don't really have great teams.
I disagree.
Maybe I'm fucking. See, like I said, you're back there. I'm
I
not.
disagree because here's the deal. A lot of and it's probably a mix of both.
Digging in. Yeah, he's gonna say a name.
No, I'm not gonna say a name because I'll get into it backstage with somebody.
Drink some more Howler or Live.
Live Oak vodka.
But-
Get it out of him.
Sometimes the guys who don't know what they're doing are super grateful. Sometimes the guys that don't know what they're doing can be like
Gotcha.
that. But more often than not, what I've seen is the guys that have good teams and they've got a stable roster or at least a couple of stars, they think they're owed something. And you're not owed shit. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care if your guy's Israel
Not at all.
Adesanya or John
Yeah.
Jones. You're not owed shit from me, dude. Nothing. Zero.
Could you imagine being a state inspector backstage and being so naive? You look at Jace Pitre and go, "Oh, that guy's just a fucking hand wrapper."
Oh, they'll get fucked up.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just the hand wrapper. But like, I'm also
But
a
if
person.
they approach you like that,
Don't.
You're
that-
also a man. Like,
Yeah,
If-
I'm
if they
also a
talk
person
down
that
to
doesn't
you-
want to be disrespected. And I've said that before. I'm like, hey, are you in a bad mood or something? Like, you don't have to disrespect me, man. Like, I'll do what you say. Like, I'm back here to follow orders. I'm back here to do my job. But, like, don't disrespect me because there's a line that you're about to cross, and then I'm going to get fucking angry, you know?
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to fight you or anything like that unless you touch me.
Text me.
But
me
I
first.
will tell you to fuck off and leave, you know?
Yeah.
And then I'll go talk to this guy and be like, hey, this fucking inspector is a dick, you know? But there's some aspect of that in every walk of life. That could be a fighter, it could be an inspector, it could be a doctor. All I'm trying to say is just be nice. Just be nice, because it's not hard and it's free. You know what I mean?
Boom. Yeah.
So
Eric's over there working on his phone, else he'd have been chiming in on some of that.
I was listening. Man, there's always shit going on. We making fights.
I know, 100%.
Trying to
I'm not trying to get that out of you. I know y'all are handling some
Trying to
massive
make-
fight business.
Absolutely.
Hey,
I'm just responding back. Fuck, man.
Do we want to run down Fury FC 80 real quick?
Yeah, before
Let's do it.
before we do that, I don't want to forget this part, man. Hey, it is awesome to have you at the shows. Please come to every fucking
sir.
show that you can be there.
Yeah, I
and
want to.
just have a drink and sit cage side, man, because that is the most fun
No
part of this
joke.
job for me.
I can't
I'm telling
drink
you right now.
until I get done wrapping everybody's
Yeah,
hands.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. But like, take a little shots.
No, I mean, it's cool. The problem for me with the shows right now is that they're on Sundays.
Yeah.
And I got to be at work at fucking 6:30 in the morning, and I live in Spring, and I drive to Sugar Land. So
Oh, wow.
for me to come to a show and stay out till 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday, it's a stretch. I'm doing it,
Hey,
but
let's get him
it's
some
a
of that
stretch.
IV hydration stuff that Anita and
You're
Sarah
off
give
today and
us.
tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, I'm off today and tomorrow.
Pass him the Fowler.
Pass him the howler.
Get
Get
him some
I
ice.
can have one more, but then that's it, because I got to...
Yeah. Hey, we've given you
me and my
ample
wife.
time after you finish that one
grab
off.
the ice? Anybody want to grab the ice?
The fuck you think I am,
Hey,
an
the
ice guy?
bartender? Listen,
Hey,
listen
if,
here.
If I pour this, it's
Listen,
going to be heavy.
you
I'm
show
gonna follow the
up.
weight.
You show up here with
got
that
it right
Justin
here.
Bernard hair. You're gonna be a bartender.
I don't know who Justin Bernard is.
Fuck you, pal.
Is it Justin Bernard is the...
My hair is way better than Justin Bernard's. Just saying.
He's the announcer in
He's
Vegas.
the announcer that they hosed me over and got the Fight Pass Invitational. See, I was there whenever this whole thing was a concept. I was at the table, and hey, Wayne, keep this date open. This thing's going to be a go. And then, like, it comes fight week. I'm like, hey, Eric, I haven't gotten a flight yet. And like, and I get the email forwarded to me where a certain executive decided, no, we're not going to pay to bring him in. We're going to use this guy over here.
He lives in Vegas.
Yeah, and I'm going no further because I have that much to drink.
You got the fucking shaft.
But yeah, I got the fucking shaft. It's like, oh,
that sucks.
Okay.
Man.
So it's like my whole team is out there and I'm not.
Your time will come, man.
I know that just means, hey, there's something bigger and better for me out there.
Your time will come.
Yeah,
and
you're killing it, man.
And his name's Dave.
I remember. I swear to God.
Yeah, fuck you, Dave, the guy.
I remember when Eric first brought Wayne on, and he was like, we had used Bart, Reverend Bart, who I fucking love, by the way. That guy is just as crazy as they come. And if you follow him on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, it's just fucking pure entertainment. But and he's a great guy. But when he left, he said, "Yeah, we're gonna bring this guy Wayne in. He's a thank you, Wayne. He's a pro wrestling announcer." And I was like,
brother,
man, I don't fucking. Whoa, dude!
This is how we pour. You don't what?
I'll drink a little bit.
I don't understand what's the problem here.
And I was like, pro wrestling, man. I don't know about this, Eric. But it worked out, man. Like
he did good, right?
You killed it. Yeah.
Heavy.
Yeah, it worked out.
All right, I got you back. I got you back to normal.
Thank you.
Jace wasn't feeling me because I was from the pro wrestling world.
That's cool. Well, yeah, I mean, I just didn't know. You know, I'm the type of guy like. This is one of the things I hate about my personality.
And then I showed up, and he's like, "I'm gonna kick his ass."
Is that like I don't trust anybody, and if my circle's really small, and so like I'm trying to get better at that, but like it takes a while for me to warm up to people.
Dude,
man.
that's not a bad tendency, though,
I know,
because especially in this industry, as we all fucking know, there are so many people who are just in this thinking they're gonna make quick bucks off of the fighters.
Not just that,
and they don't give a shit about anybody else.
Bro, the whole martial arts industry is like that. So
garbage.
Here's one thing that really kind of fucking almost made me stay away from martial arts recently is that martial arts is not regulated at all. Like zero. Anybody can buy a black belt, go on the internet, get a black belt, go to a gym, open up a gym, and then start teaching shit. And it attracts the worst type of people, and it also attracts the best type of people. So like, it's kind of a catch-22 when it comes to that shit. And so that's not the reason that I don't warm up to people. I don't warm up to people very easily just because that's kind of my personality. And when I say, like, let people in my circle, I don't let anybody in my circle, really. But I want to be better about just being nice to people. You know what I mean? Because for so long, like, if I didn't think that you were a legit fighter or if I didn't think that you were going to come and train or whatever like that, like, I just wouldn't even talk to you, you know? And that's just the wrong way, I think, to go about things.
Makes sense.
This dude's trying to make fights with bullshit over here. So we need you to fight 16.
Yeah, can you make San Antonio in 2 weeks?
You need me to fight?
July
you'll be fine. You'll be great. You'll be good. Have some more drinks.
Man.
You'll be good.
Hey, we could just tell Jace, hey, this guy worked for the state.
Hey,
yeah.
Boom.
So this motherfucker was riding his bike in front of your window, dude.
He rode a bike to the venue.
Hey, man, that's the thoughts that I have in my head. I'm crazy sometimes.
Hey, speaking of crazy, man, 625 just went down. Fury FC 80. What an amazing card. Again, this was one of our best events that we've put on so far.
Totally lived up to the hype, man. What an electric crowd, man.
Dude, that crowd was insane. From start to finish. And, there's a lot of highlights from this card, but I'm going to break down through the winners real quick. Leomar Martinez fell to Felipe Efrain in our main event. Yadier Duval Valle. I can never fucking say his name right.
Devalle
and Michael Aswell.
Devalle and Aswell, man.
How about that fucking scrap?
That was a good fight, man.
Dude. What a banger, man.
I thought Aswell won.
I've got to.
Thank you.
A lot of people do, and that's a legit claim. It could have gone either way, but I mean, I'm not disagreeing. His dad thought that Aswell would finish Yadier in second round TKO.
He should have.
He called that before the fight.
He should have, and it was very close. I think, honestly, with that fight, I think Aswell let him off the hook a little bit in the second round when the kid was just dead tired. The only way I see that Aswell didn't win that fight is his draw, and Yadier got 10-8 in the first round because he was dominating.
That's right.
Yeah. The first round, Yadier came out fired on all cylinders, so he definitely got the first round. But
Brian dropping off the
Aswell withstood the storm, and we got Brian Duvall.
So I didn't think it was a 10-8 round in the first, only because he had a lot of control, but not a lot of damage.
Not a lot of damage.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of damage.
Right.
Hey,
Pass
shout out
that bad boy around.
Shout out to
Jace Pitre.
DNA Studios
Put your hands on that
here,
trophy there, sir.
All right.
taking the silver.
Fury FC.
What is that?
That's awesome.
What is this? The Ghost? What is
Award-winning.
this called?
That's fucking.
Fury
That's
FC.
my Grammy.
Fury
son.
Fighting Championships.
We got a
This
telly.
is for the
That's my
Telly
Grammy.
Awards.
That's an
Hey,
awesome.
executive
Telly.
producer Sam Schrade. Is it Schrade or Schrade?
Schrade.
Schrade.
Sam.
You like that? And
Schrade, the
producer,
sweetest
listen,
taboo.
the only name that really matters, Brian Duvall.
Brian
shout out to
Duvall, the voice
Brian
in my
Duvall
head
there.
on these broadcasts.
The Grammy.
Picking up the silver medal Telly Award because we couldn't win a gold. What the fuck?
The Grammy, bitch.
What the fuck, Brian?
Oh, we got a Grammy
We
for
got a
Wayne's
Grammy,
beautiful
baby.
voice.
I don't know about
Here
all
you
that.
go.
But boom, there it is. The
That's
Telly,
the
folks.
BET Award, baby. Come on.
The BET
We
Award?
got-
What?
We
Black entertainment
we got-
television.
Hell yes.
We got best new rap album of the year for
BET.
Wayne's Tales from the Cracker.
Okay.
The,
West side
pretty
is the
badass.
best side.
hey,
Boom.
Right in the
congratulations to us, and you're
Put it right
welcome.
there
You're
next to our
welcome to you
Howlerhead
guys.
whiskey.
Hey, so again, back to the Yadier and Aswell fight. I agree. I did think Aswell won 2 and 3, even though
They
he
called
did
it-
kind of let him off the hook in the second
He could have
round.
finished him.
I thought
mean,
he
that
could
guy.
have, too.
That
He
guy
was-
was super tired. So what
Yeah.
I was telling Eric on the sidelines was that Eric had told me, hey, he comes out hard and fast. Usually they dump real hard in the second, and then they'll come back in the third, and that's pretty much exactly what happened. It was a dogfight, but I told Yanez.
It didn't feel like a unanimous
Cameron,
decision for Yadier.
Right. When I turned around after the second round to talk to Yanez and Smotherman, I said, man, I think he let him off the hook. I mean, Mike could have finished him. He had him up against the ropes. He was flurrying, one to the body, up top, 2 or 3, and he was done, but he backed off. And I know that was probably just because he was tired too.
Yeah.
But he wasn't near as tired as Yadier.
And from a coaching standpoint, if you're going to lose a fight, his first loss, that's a hell of a first loss.
Yeah.
Like that's
I don't think he lost, but that's just me.
I don't disagree with you. I do think that you can look back and go, hey man, listen, there's a lot of really good things that happened in this fight. Had we turned it up in the second round a little bit more, maybe we do finish him.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the next fight.
Well,
for
a
Michael
lot of
Aswell.
times,
I don't know that one, but I know that one, and I know that one. It's like,
He's got
I thought
the
he was dead.
scorecards.
oh, yeah. A lot of times I think
but no, he judged this fight, and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
judged it for Yadier.
Yeah, I know.
Who is it?
Which I'm not. No.
What ref is that?
No.
We announced the refs?
No,
No,
it's
no,
not
no,
the-
that's
I mean
Judge.
the judges. We
No,
announced
no.
the judges. Judge so and so gave it so and so to
Let me
so
see
and
it.
so.
No, not whenever it's unanimous. I don't. I just say all
Well,
three.
let's see.
All 3 judges score the fight. 29-28. Here's your winner. Is what I do. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus.
Hey, listen, the
but
fight-
To say that Aswell didn't win 1 round out of that fight is a travesty,
I
and it's
do
kind of a
think-
knock against the Texas
it
judge.
doesn't tell you what round.
Well, it looks like they each gave him a round, right? Because is it 29-28?
So they all
So it's
gave
all
him the
29,
second
28.
round.
They all gave him 1 round.
They all gave
Fair enough,
Aswell
fair enough. Yeah.
1 round. It must have been the second round.
That's what I'm saying.
I still listen. It was a close fight. I don't feel it was as close as maybe it was perceived to be. I thought Aswell won the fight pretty clearly.
I did too.
I guess that was my point in the Howlers kind of talking. Not one judge felt that Aswell won the fight. It's like, what?
Again, here's the horrible thing about this sport. Still, it's a person's opinion.
Yeah.
And
it's subjective.
Of that list, I hate to say this, but probably the newest person on that list is the only one really qualified to even judge the fights. The other people have 0 experience in MMA, and that's a whole TDLR thing that could take us 2 more fucking hours here.
2 of those have fought before.
2 of them have fought. One of them had, yeah. So, but hey, shouts out to Yadier. He got the victory.
Yeah.
Remains
He's tough.
undefeated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Super
and he's
tough.
a badass. I'm so glad to have him back in the fold of
Yeah,
Fury.
you can't say again like it's.
It's not like he beat a scrub either.
No.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I mean,
No.
Aswell's tough, man. He's 7-0.
I don't know if that fight was enough to punch his ticket to go to contenders this year. I think.
Yeah, not on a decision.
Yeah, he needs another one for sure.
Yeah.
Man, how about Matt Jones and Justice Torres?
That was my favorite fight of the night.
That was
Man.
a great fight.
Yeah.
That was another good one, man.
Matt Jones is a motherfucker, dude.
Yeah,
He's not-
he showed really good jiu-jitsu, really good top control, top pressure. I was impressed. I talked to him backstage. I wrapped him up. Really nice guy. So, yeah, I was impressed. He did really well, and he was in good shape.
30-27
really
across
good
the
shape.
board.
I
the way that one was
took
judged.
a picture of him during this fight. He may have the most shredded body I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's in
I
good
saw
shape.
him at weigh-ins. I was like, man, this dude's big.
Yeah,
So
he was big for a 45.
Yeah,
Hey, so-
yeah,
and
there was
Justice
there
is
was a
strong.
noticeable size difference whenever they
So
rehydrated.
one of my 45ers. Dude, look at his fucking leg in this picture.
Yeah.
Are you shitting
Yeah,
me?
yeah, he's strong.
Like one of my 45ers went immediately to follow him on Instagram and start sending him messages about,
picture,
hey, how do you get to
wow.
you're shredded.
That picture is like you can count the muscles. That's why they call it a quadricep.
Well,
It's a
he's
nasty
also
sport.
training at altitude too.
Right.
So when he comes down, he's going to put some mass on and not
Yeah.
put any fat on, just because of the air.
Hey.
But I think Justice, he held his own. It's just the guys just had better jiu-jitsu. That's really what it came down to.
It's just you can't win them all. Like
can't.
he was undefeated. I think these are all learning moments for
Aswell
these guys.
and Torres both, they needed to be tested, they need to be challenged, and this
Yeah,
card
and
did
sometimes
that,
that turns the switch on a guy, and he becomes what he's really capable of being. Other times it shuts guys down. It just depends on what's up here on that, because they both have the talent. Both of them have a world of talent. And Justice, I've trained with Justice. He's the nicest guy in the world, super strong. They can make it. They just got to fix a few things.
Yeah, it's a matter of time.
Hey, speaking of a guy, dude, Jacob
Next
fucking
up,
Silva.
Jacob
Yeah.
Silva, Joey Elzea.
Okay, so a
was
while
wild.
back we had some conversations about who's the hardest hitting 125er.
Are you still willing
And-
to take that shot,
and-
Rich Burmaster?
Yeah, I didn't put myself in this fucking boat. Eric did, but you also said you would take it as well. Listen, 16-ounce glove. I think I'm gonna be okay. I think you're gonna be fine too. Is it gonna suck? Probably. It's probably not gonna be great. But I need him to cut to 25 first before he hits me too.
Jacob Silva.
I'll do it.
Jacob Silva.
I'll do it right at the morning official weigh-ins. Not
Jacob
at
Silva
ceremonials.
knocks out Joey
I think-
Elzea, 446 in round one. But moments before, Jacob Silva took 2 nut shots, allegedly. The first one was clear nut shot.
Second
the
one maybe-
second one,
okay,
not so much.
So listen, it's hard to tell. When you look at the second shot,
I
first one
said it
clearly
live.
nut
I'm
shot.
not going to judge another man's balls if he
looked
goes down like he did.
If
then
you guys
he got kicked in the balls.
You guys have all
But
had a
looking
cup
back at the
on
review, I
and
mean,
have it graze the cup as it hits another part of your body, and
Boom.
it can feel
Yes.
like you've been hitting the nuts.
That's what
Yes.
happened. It
And
grazed the cup.
It grazed the cup for sure, but the impact clearly was on the body. Now,
Yeah.
had
Again,
had
it's the-
Elzea followed in and pounced, maybe he wins with a stoppage.
Maybe Joe doesn't
but
stop
he
it
didn't,
right
But he
then.
didn't do that. But
Like,
he didn't do that.
Joey
we'll
acted
never know.
like-
Like
Joey-
Kanye said at the awards. I guess we'll never know.
Joey reacted as if he had hit him in the nuts, and I kind of
Yeah.
agree. If you had just swarmed in like that was a body shot, maybe Joe doesn't pull you off because he didn't clearly see the nut kick. Silva turns, but none of that matters because Jacob Silva took his throne back once again as the hardest hitting 125er.
That's 2 in a row.
Dude,
I love
That
that
was
Two
guy,
finishes
man.
in a row.
that one was
And
brutal.
he just
Every
signed his
fight that-
he
every
just
fight that he
signed
does
his
for us.
contract for August.
Yeah.
Every fight that we get out of Jacob Silva is just like a bonus at this point,
How
man.
crazy is it that we went from 2 fights back? We were like, "Is this the last Jacob Silva fight?"
Yeah.
And now
he's knocking everybody out.
He's
You know he's having a baby.
yeah, with who? No.
So he's trying to fight. He's trying to fight as much as he can until his baby's born.
Dude, listen. Every
October.
Jacob Silva fight we get at this point is a gift. He's 35 years
Yeah,
old.
man.
Like, the kid has been doing
Listen,
it.
man, if he goes on a fucking another tear and wins like 3 in a row,
Who's
finishes
to say,
and
who's to say he
I could-
doesn't get the Hurricane Ike look?
Hey,
I
listen,
could see,
just-
see
say
Mick
he
saying,
gotta
"Hey, man,
run.
let's bring you
Let's
in on
bring him
short
there
notice."
just
Mick
to see what
loves
happens.
to watch him. Mick
Yeah.
loves to watch him fight. I mean,
You
who-
know, if you
who
put
doesn't?
I hope
him
it
in,
happens.
if you put him in, there's not going to be a boring fight.
I mean, if you go back and you look at his losses, dude, they weren't boring losses.
Oh my God!
Like,
C.J. Vergara, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
fight was great.
oh, dude, even his 2 contender series
Cleveland,
fights,
McLean.
Yeah.
were all bloody and getting after it. The Cleveland, like, again, Jacob Silva's been doing it forever. As he said in the video, man, I'm 35, but I'm still doing it. I think he clearly, once again, he is the dominant 125 as far as power goes out there. He's a danger to anybody he fights. His next fight we just announced.
Shojin.
I can't say his name. How do you say-
Shojin Mickey.
Jacob taking no time, stacking up that money before the baby gets here. Congratulations to Mr. Silva on the knockout and the upcoming kid. Cody Freeman and Peter Caballero. Peter Caballero got the decision at 145 because Cody had some weight issues again. in this fight. And I'm assuming Cody Freeman will now go up to 45. And
yeah, hit him up. Tell him we need him in San Antonio.
Yeah, you're right, actually. yeah, you're right.
Hey, what a great idea. Yeah, El Vaquero picking
Cody,
up the unanimous
I'm reaching out to
decision
you right now.
over Cody Freeman.
Yeah, but, Peter's ready to go back again, too.
And
I got a guy ready to go with him. San Antonio, we got to add some more fights.
No, we're not putting
All
Peter
right.
back on there.
after that, we got Casey Jones, Aaron Gomez.
Hey, shout out to Casey Jones.
Yeah.
That was a fun fight.
Yeah.
It was.
Aaron, maybe I
will
missed.
walk you down.
Maybe I missed.
Yeah, that guy's tough as shit.
I think I missed a lot of that fight dealing with some other stuff. But every time I turned around, Aaron Gomez was just walking forward,
Coming
throwing
forward.
Yeah.
shit.
There
There
just like
is
this.
That
no
dude had a
walk
nasty
back
chin.
in Aaron Gomez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Casey played that beautifully. He's been training at Heritage. The one thing I'll say about Casey that I think that he needs to get better on is his distance control with his elbows, because he threw a ton of elbows, but a lot of them were hitting on the forearm.
Yeah.
And so it's really kind of a funny thing is like when you throw elbows, they're different than when you throw punches. They have to be like right on the point of your elbow. And I think if he would have controlled his distance a little bit more, maybe taken another half step back before he throws, I think he would have cut that kid up. That kid would not have quit.
For every half step Casey Jones took back, Aaron Gomez was taking 2 steps
I know,
forward.
but there's distance control when you're
Yeah,
throwing those
of
elbows,
course,
and he's
yeah.
only going to get better at that training at Heritage.
Yeah.
But if he would have cut him up, he could have stopped him, because he was
Yeah.
not going to knock him out. That kid was way too tough. That
100%,
that was probably my favorite fight of the night, maybe besides the Justice and Matt Jones fight.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's a great
Casey looked really good, much improved, and I always like watching Casey fight. He's super tough.
Hey, also for that we had, Markel Medeiros.
Markel Medeiros, Justice Lamprez, Markel Medeiros.
Hey, listen, so
not even a minute in the first round, 53 seconds it took him to stop that one.
Markel was a guy who kind of grew on me. Like when I first met Markel, I thought he was like the cocky kid.
Yeah.
And he's such a nice fucking dude.
Really?
Like he's such a nice kid.
Yeah.
And
I didn't get to watch that one. I was still wrapping hands.
Are you sure? I think you did. I think you did.
Oh, maybe I
It's
did.
either you or maybe it might have been one of the state guys who said something. I thought it was you. But,
What did I say?
you had a comment about the talent level of Justice Lamprez, but I think it might have been. Now that I think back on it, it might have been somebody else.
That was somebody. I know who that was. That was somebody else.
Yeah.
You would really appreciate watching Markel fight. Dude, he's so accurate. Everything he throws.
No, I did. I think I did watch the
is just
fight.
fucking pinpoint.
He
accurate.
smoked the guy, right?
Smoked the
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I
I did
did
watch it.
Markel 7-1.
Yeah.
Seven and
he
one.
moves to 7-1
His
after that one.
one loss is a split decision in which you.
And
obviously-
Lamprez was 8-8, so I mean it's not like he was a slouch rookie.
No,
I mean he had 16 fights.
No, not at all. Markel's going to be a star. That kid's going to be a star. Now, what about the hometown star, Gabe Macario?
Oh yeah, he
TKO,
came back.
baby.
He came back, didn't he?
Yes.
He was losing the fight.
Yeah.
Wasn't he losing the fight? I think I saw that one.
TKO.
Yeah.
445.
Yeah, Tyreek has such power.
Second
early.
round, it was in the closing moments. He's able to finish off Tyreek Malvo.
Yeah, I've seen that guy fight a couple times now. That Gabe guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty tough. He
Never-
fought Cameron, right?
You may remember him
Yes.
from the TMF fight. He fought Shaquem Richardson.
I
for
was
the,
not at that
for
show.
the TMF
I
fight.
was not at that show.
Never in a boring fight.
Yeah,
Never.
Like
yeah.
that dude's
Yeah,
super
that
fun to
Cameron
scrap.
fight was a tough fight.
And he seems to have that chip on his shoulder. He's back.
He trains with Bob. He trains up there with
Yeah.
those Main Street guys.
Yeah. Awesome guy.
Yeah.
Hey, also, Gabby Echeverria picked up the victory over Steven Perez, a super close fight.
That was a swing bout, right? That was a swing bout?
Yeah, that was our
Swing
swing
bout,
bout at the end about. What about the freak show Robles de Spain?
Oh my God, that dude,
God.
the heavyweight,
You know
the
exactly.
heavyweight fight.
You know exactly.
Dude, I saw that guy in the back, and I'm like,
Holy shit, right?
Holy shit, that's like a fucking Avenger.
Dude,
that dude was
The
like
dude is 6'7".
so big.
So-
I'm
6'7",
like,
and on weighing day 261. So I mean, he's probably like 280.
like
for
I
the
always
fight.
said, like I don't give a shit how big you are. Like if I'll fight you. But I walked in, I saw that guy, and I'm like, I would not
No
fight
thanks.
that guy.
Jace Pitre gave it no
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah.
Derek Lewis, another one. Like I see Derek
Yeah,
Lewis, I'm
yeah,
like,
no
I would
thanks.
never, ever want to fight Derek Lewis.
No.
Like he
No
is
thanks.
so mean.
Derek Lewis was the first guy that I got to grapple with that made me almost piss myself. like he grabbed me so like it's just one of those things you're like, is he gonna
Do
rape
you
me right
remember
now?
that show that Mick had? It was a legacy show where he fought some dude who was running in the back like, who's a black belt in here? Who here is a black belt?
Oh, was it Ricky Shivers?
Yes, yes. And Derek's over there. He's like, I ain't a black belt, but I'm gonna fuck you up.
Dude.
And he put Derek in a full-blown armbar, similar to the this weekend, the Nicky Rod armbar.
Yeah.
And Derek just was like, and like gets out of it and just beats his ass.
If you also remember in that fight, Ricky Shivers had full mount.
He did.
And he kind of like Kimura grabbed him and just ripped the fucking black belt off of him.
And then that, what was that other fight where Derek just like, it was that wrestler, Jake Rochalt or something?
Yeah.
Where
Oh,
he's just
Jared
like,
Rochalt.
Yeah.
Jared
He's
Rochalt.
like ragdolling Derek,
Yes.
and Derek is just like, I'm going to get up now.
Dude, he just stands up
had
and
enough
then
of this.
knocks him
He's
out
like,
a few seconds later.
I'm going to get up now,
Yeah.
and I'm going to fucking win this fight. Like,
So-
Derek Lewis is a monster,
He's a-
And then he
man.
hit him with a
Freak show.
3-piece and knocked him the fuck out.
His hands are like fucking
That was,
lunchboxes.
oh my
that
God.
was our
Huge,
that was
yeah.
our first Legacy show in Dallas at the Expo, and Derek picked up the heavyweight title that night.
Dude, I just love it when guys get that humble pie,
Dude.
like that Ricky Shivers guy, because he was talking so much shit in the back, and there's like world champion black belts in the back.
Yeah.
You know, like literally dudes that have won worlds in black belts. It's just like ridiculous.
So I get to weigh in Saturday morning, and I'm running a little bit late. And I get there, and Eric's there, and he goes, that fucking dude had to duck his head to get in here. I said, what? He goes,
He did,
he's
bro.
like, so to get in the room, he had to duck his head to walk
He's
into
a
the
big
room.
fucking guy.
And he looks like the guy from Demolition Man. He looks like fucking, like
Simon
Wes
Phoenix?
Hair.
Simon Phoenix.
He's Simon
That's one of my
Phoenix.
favorite movies, dude. I
He's Simon
fucking love that
Phoenix.
movie.
If you fed him
Fucking
juice
overalls.
from the day he was
Fucking
born,
overalls on, baby.
dude, you gave him juice from the day he's born. That's who fucking
Fuck,
Simon
man.
Phoenix becomes.
That guy was so big. I thought he
Bro.
was like a cartoon character back there. I
And
was
then
like,
you know,
God damn.
Travis Gregori, the guy he fought, he had 6 fights and won 3. He actually was a good
Yeah.
like heavyweight.
Dude,
Decent,
he
yeah.
got slept with a hammer fist.
The
Yeah, he
picture, dude. The
Like,
picture.
Just Donkey Konged him.
Did you see the
He
weigh-in
literally
picture?
Donkey Konged him.
with Eric and Travis on one side and Robles on the other at the weigh-in picture, and they're
No.
both looking up to this guy like, what
Bro,
the fuck did we
he's a-
get
Dude, I
into?
hate standing next to guys like that. Because I'm short. I'm like, man, I can't be next to this guy.
Did they make you feel like you're not a real person? Right?
Yeah, it
was
made me feel like
insane.
I was fucking a dwarf
Like,
from Lord of
am
the
I a
Rings or some
toy?
shit.
Am I a toy for this guy?
Fucking,
What is-
yeah.
Hey,
So-
but you stand on your toes for those pictures.
Don't
You stand
do
on your
nothing,
toes.
man. Like,
Yeah.
I need a fucking step stool.
Hey, so Robles will be back very soon.
Who's going to fight that guy?
I don't know.
Juan
Six-
Adams?
We're gonna do like
Trying to
six.
Hey, Juan
six
Adams,
people.
Austin Green would be another good
That's
fight
another
for
funny
him.
thing. When I was working cuts for Juan Adams, it was in the Bayou City Event Center. I could barely grease him because I'm so sure. I was like,
Can you sit down?
like, dude, duck, motherfucker. I'm only 5'9".
Help me out, right? Yeah.
Hey, also in the card, man, the battle of what I thought was going to be the fight of the night didn't go fight of the night, but the two, in my opinion, two of the youngest prospects, dude, Rylan Melanson and Gabriel Wanderlei.
Oh, dude.
How fucking good is Gabriel Wanderlei?
Dude, that
Yeah.
kid is fucking
He's fucking
beast.
great, man. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a good fighter.
And he wasn't afraid to exchange on
Speaking
his
of
feet.
shredded, that guy was fucking shredded too.
Jesus, dude.
Like,
How old is he? 20?
like a
years
fucking
old.
Ken doll or some shit.
20 years old. 3-0, 3 finishes already.
Yeah, dude, that kid is a monster.
He was a 3-0, 3-15
I love watching
in the
young,
first round. He
young,
stopped.
talented prospects like that
Rylan
guy.
Melanson.
Because it's just you're privileged to get to watch them rise up and make it to the big show and see if they're going to make it or they're not going to make it. I love doing that. I
Dude,
love watching those guys.
everything you just said is what to me what makes Fury so different, unique, and fun.
Yeah.
Because you can watch them from amateurs all the way up to they're getting ready to leave. It's like Cameron Smotherman, Josh Van,
Yeah.
these guys. Like you watch them from their first fight, where you're like,
I'll tell you
yes.
who another prospect is that I really enjoy watching is, God, what is his name? He fought for you guys. Who's that guy from Alex Morano's gym? Josh?
Joe
Thomas.
Hendershot.
Josh Thomas.
Okay.
Oh, the wrestler.
Dude, that fucking
Yeah.
kid is a monster. Like, I
Yeah.
watched him fight 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, dude, he's like one of my favorite young
Yeah.
amateurs to watch. Like, I think he's a 45er.
45, 4-0.
Like, if you want to test yourself, fight that guy. Like, that dude's a fucking beast, man.
I like him.
Yeah, he fought a couple weeks ago, and he fought a tough guy out of Eric Williams' gym, and just made it look fucking rudimentary.
Out of Elite?
Yeah.
They still. I didn't know they still. Even, I never.
Yeah, I
I
don't
never
even know they had
they
that.
still had
Yeah,
a fighting program.
yeah. He fought this guy. He was like a Brazilian guy, and just fucking molested him on the ground. Like, it was so bad.
Ouch.
Hey, speaking of molesting, Sean Kennard picked up the victory over Garrett Foster.
Yeah, he molested him too.
Dude.
The fucking Woodlands guys, man.
Round.
The fucking Woodlands guys are always tough.
Yeah.
They're never easy fights.
Well, Alex Morono guys.
This next fight featured 2 125 prospects. Again, I don't think I agreed in this decision. Alex De La Cruz defeated Jean Patrick. I didn't think De La Cruz did that much. Maybe I missed it. Maybe
29,
I
28
missed
across
it.
the board.
I thought Jean Patrick. Well, I was surprised that he was able to not handle.
Alex De La Cruz was getting him to the ground though.
But he was able to get up every time.
But he still was taking him down.
It was a good fight.
And when he got up, he wasn't landing.
With
really.
Alex De La Cruz's wrestling, it's going to be interesting to see like how he improves and how far he goes.
They hit me up. They want on like now. They're ready to go.
Hey, also on this card we have Joseph Aguilar, Dominic Perez, and Aguilar
picking up a win.
Picking up a win. Again, one of the guys that we talk about how like the amateurs just doesn't fucking matter. Dude was 7-1 as an AMI, had like every title you can have, and now he's 2-3.
2-3, yeah. He moves to 2-3
as a pro.
He got a unanimous decision, 29-28 across the board.
This is the thing that I tell the guys is that it does not matter who you are. Anybody can knock you out at the pro level, and with 4-ounce gloves. Anybody can do it. And you've seen it time and time again, these guys that rack up all these accolades in other sports, striking, grappling, and then they get into the show. And
so, I'd love to hear your opinion on this. Eric and I are always talking about with these amateurs, like you have to test yourself as an amateur. You get a couple fights. Okay, you get taking on another debut guy, maybe take a guy's got a win or two. One, you don't want to stay amateur for so long because you're not getting paid to get hit in the head.
Yeah.
Like let's just be honest here. That's not what you're getting paid to do. So take a tough fight and see where your skills really at. Like where do you fall in that line of living?
I mean, I told him that. I mean, that's what we talked about is take your tough fights as an amateur, get 6 to 10 fights, and then turn pro. Because if you rattle off tomato cans and then you get in the pro level, you're going to get exposed. It's the same thing as a pro. If you rattle off tomato cans at the pro level and then you get in the UFC, you're going to get exposed. Well, they caught on to it now though. I mean, right. Mick and them they're privy to it. Like they're not going to sign you if you've got, a record of opponents that's 0-16, or even 8-16. Like if you have a losing record of opponents, like they're going to catch on, but you're going to get exposed. So why not test yourself at the amateurs as hard as you can if you really want to do this, and then get into the pros. You take the right fights. 1 to 3 fights, take the right fights. And then I always tell my guys, take a fight with somebody that you're better with in one area, but you're just a little bit not better than in another area.
Yes.
Like that's kind of how you build yourself until you get to the top of the regional circuit. And then once you get to the top of the regional circuit, you got to fight the best guys in the country that aren't in the UFC, or you got to fight ex-vets, ex-UFC vets. And if you can beat those guys, then you're going to get a shot. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, it's not rocket science, man. Like, fight the tough guys when the time is right and beat them, and you'll get in.
And we still have so many guys. They're like, oh, man, I'm not really looking for that fight.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Come on, man, get the fuck out of here. You're 5-0.
Yeah, I mean,
what the fuck you want to do?
like the way that I
want to
really
go to the UFC undefeated at 5-0.
I really think these guys are doing it the right way. Justice and Aswell.
Yes.
Those guys are fighting top tier competition. And if they beat those guys, I know they both just lost, but like I said, if they come back stronger,
still got great records.
Yeah.
Nobody's not getting that set them back.
Hey, listen. To his credit, early in his career, and you'll know, we had so many guys that wanted to fight Michael Aswell. Everybody was knocking on the door. Hey, let me get that Aswell fight. Let me get that Aswell fight. After he went through Cameron Graves. Silence.
Yep. Yeah, because Cameron's tough. Everybody knows.
Tough as nails, man.
It started becoming where it was like, oh, shit, this kid can actually fight.
And then he beat who? Lucian? Austin?
And nobody.
Yeah, Lucian.
Hey, you know what? After Cameron, after Austin Lucian, and now after the Yadier fight, I don't have a message saying, give me the
Not as many people are asking for Aswell anymore.
Nobody is asking for the Aswell
They thought he was
fight
a stone.
anymore.
They thought he was a stepping stone.
But his coaches did the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, you fight early. Listen, I'm on the mindset, like, I've got a guy getting his pro debut coming up, and he's got a tough first pro debut. It's not an easy pro debut, but it's also a fight that he should win. He's better than this guy in some aspects. This guy may be a little stronger somewhere else.
Sure.
But he should win. but it's so early in your pro career that if we get there and it doesn't go right, all right, we fix some things and we move forward.
Yeah, I mean, listen, nobody's not getting into the UFC because they have losses.
Right.
Like I always tell him, and he asked me this the other day because he was like, "Do you think that if you would have, fought more,
Eric Garcia,
Eric, that you would have made it to the UFC?" And I'm like, "Listen, if you fight long enough and you have any level of talent, you're gonna make it. Like all these guys, I'm not gonna name names, but there's quite a few guys that I originally didn't think were gonna make it and ended up making it because they just never quit. That was it. They just never quit. And if you lose to a couple of really tough guys, the real people that matter that are going to put you in the show, they understand that. Like, Joe Blow may not understand that. Oh, this guy's in the UFC. He's got 8 losses, but they don't realize that those 8 losses came from like Kamaru Usman and George St. Pierre and fucking shit like that.
I mean,
thankfully, Joe Blow isn't the decision maker. Right.
I think we've got 2 really great examples here. I mean, Ike Villanueva and Daniel Pineda.
Yeah,
like
Daniel's a beast, man.
Neither of those guys have like a beautiful record. Where you look at their record and be like, oh, he's only got 2 losses, 3 losses.
Yeah.
No, they both got like almost fucking double-digit losses, man.
Yeah, but they fight. They're fighters, man.
Fight, dude.
And Daniel's just nasty. I mean, that dude. Yeah, he's lost some fights.
Never a boring fight with Daniel.
Fuck, that dude he's a Houston legend to me. I mean, the legends to me are like Derek, Daniel, Eve. Who else? Adrian now. I mean, he's
Adrian
just
Yanez,
butchering the shit out of people.
He makes that list,
Alex Morano. Like, dude, that kid, man. I was fighting, and he was like a 17-year-old kid in high school, like, in the corner, just like, and then all of a sudden, he just never quit, and he's a fucking dog, and super, super tough guy, so... Like those guys.
I remember I always used to have the same thoughts about Alex Morano. Was I used to think like, man, if this kid gets in shape and loses a little bit of that belly, like he'll be great. And then it stayed the same. It never changed, and he just became a fucking world beater.
Dude, he's just a beast, man.
He is so like fun to watch fight because I forgot who it was I was talking with about the other day. It was like he kind of does like the same thing still. Like he's gonna swing that overhand right, like he's trying to murder. You know what I mean? Like that club.
Yeah.
And you know it's coming. There's nothing you can. You're not. It's kind of almost like Dane Henderson.
But
you know it's coming.
His grappling is on point.
There's nothing you can do to stop it.
His Kimuras are on point. Like Jason, who trains with us. I don't know if you guys, Jason. Jason Rogers.
Yeah.
That dude's a fucking killer on the ground. And
he's a Kimura machine.
Yeah, he's like so good at the Kimura. And he was training with Daniel for a while. And I was talking to him like 2 Wednesdays ago when we were training. And I was like, man, Daniel, like his Kimuras are just like so good. And he's like, yeah, we trained together and we traded information and worked on it. And he's like, and then the very next fight, he won the fight with a fucking one-arm Kimura.
Yeah.
Like he's really good. I was asking Travis because Travis, the thing I was hearing you guys talking earlier about Travis and like how like there's different levels to this game. There's black belts, and then there's like world-class guys. But like Travis, you look at Travis and he's like, okay, Travis is a world-class black belt, but he gets beat at the top levels by guys. Like he's been armbarred in competition and things like that. But I've seen that guy in the gym hang with Lovato. Like
he did that
at the Invitational.
Yeah,
dude. Was it first? Was
the
that
first one?
So the very first Invitational, they draw these straws.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
You should ask Justin Bernard. So,
fuck that guy. He's got a comb over.
So it all comes down to it, man. And
Justin Bernard.
In order for Team Fury to just survive, Travis had to go against Lovato, who was already like the greatest American grappler, and they're friends. They know each other, so he's at this size disadvantage. And it became, at first the talk was like can he survive, and then it became, oh shit, he's not gonna get, like he's fucking not just surviving, he's getting after it in there.
Dude, he's fucking world class, man.
Dude, he is amazing, man. I'd love to get him. We need to get him on the show.
I trained with him since 2004, and I've never tapped him, and I've never even come close to tapping him. I've passed his guard a couple times. I've swept him a couple times. But almost every time that I do pass his guard or sweep him, he immediately gets out, hits the same fucking move on me, and then taps me out. It's been 20 years, dude.
You say that, and I feel so much better about myself because since probably like 08, 09, Travis has helped me with my schools, has helped me grow my business. Has always, for a while we were a Took affiliate. So one day I was like, dude, I just don't drive this 2 hours to come see you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, and he's always been there. I called him 6 months ago. Hey, I have a question about this. Spent half an hour on the phone, like just helping me out.
He's a great person, man.
I don't think I've ever past his guard or even come relatively close to passing his guard. And I remember the one time I thought, it sticks in my mind, I thought, I'm going to pass his, nope. Like, I literally, I was getting my knee, I was like, I'm going to pass this fucking, next thing I know, like, he's on my back, and I'm like, are you shitting me? Yeah, exactly.
No, Rich.
Dude, it was
he's on his back and bow and arrow.
Oh, I think that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, he's good at that.
Yeah, he's so net. We got to get him on the show.
You know who else is a fucking awesome grappler is Jose Yanez.
Yes.
Dude, he's got completely different game than Travis, but he's so smooth, dude.
Yeah. So I used to jack with him because he was not my first introduction, but the first guy who I really had to worry about with like leg locks. Yeah. Like his De La Rivas and leg locks and shit, like he's great at that.
Yeah. And he's really good. That's his game.
Dude, he'll
rolls and does all that shit.
Yeah, I used to get so angry with him because everybody else that I would roll with, I was like, oh, you gonna bury a bullet? I'll smash you to the fucking ground.
Yeah.
Not him.
Not Jose.
Not Jose.
You're not
doing
that to Jose either.
No.
And he'll fight you to the death. Dude. Like, that dude is mean.
I think that's a credit to
Chico ain't tapping for shit.
The training partners and Travis, man. Took is such an underrated school in this lineage of Houston, like fucking in grappling.
Yeah. This happened to me the other day. So I know you guys run the Submission Hunter Pro. Do you guys know who Eddie Pukachagov is or whatever his last name is?
Yeah.
So
you had to say
that kid, how do you say his last name?
Pugachev.
Comes out to the Russian music last
his dad is
dude. Yeah, he came out to the Russian national anthem a couple of times.
So story about this kid, right? Yeah. So like I was talking to Ward.
How old is he? He's got to be like
he's 17.
14,
no, he's 17.
17. Now. Okay.
So I was talking to his dad, and his dad was like, this was years ago, and his dad was like, Eddie wakes up every day and does 100 pull-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 100 push-ups. This was when he was like fucking 7 years old, 8 years old,
man.
Right? He's 17 now, so this is like 10 years ago. I went in there the other day on Wednesday night, and I rolled with this kid. And this kid is fucking all over me, dude. I mean, all over me, dude. Yeah. I'm like, holy shit. Wow. Dude, that kid he's a man.
Nice.
Like, because you start the roll off with him thinking, all right, it's going to be all right. And then he just turns it up.
Dude,
he did that shit to me like last year. And I was like, okay.
Like, this kid's about to get me. Like, what the fuck, man? Yeah. So I was just saying that because Travis you're saying he's an underrated gym. He's got a lot of really tough guys. And now he's having like Thursday no-gis, which I can't make just because of work. But they got like Raytheon Stotts over there. Yeah, they got Cameron Smotherman, Travis, Matt Schnell. All these guys are over there training like together, and they're just getting better. Yeah. And they're only going to get better with a guy like Travis.
100%.
So, yeah, man. Good deal.
Yeah, Travis is awesome, man. Like, thank you for everything you've done for everybody, man. There's so many people that he's helped out.
Yeah, you should get him on the podcast.
Business. Does Travis drink?
Yeah.
Not really.
Let's get
him.
Let's get him.
He'll drink a little bit, but he doesn't really drink a lot.
We went to a Christmas party a couple of years ago, and he got pretty drunk.
He'll be glad you shared that.
Yeah, he'll drink.
All I know is every now and then, I'm not outside of posting for Fury. I'm not on my social media a whole lot. But every time I see Travis, is like, I'm doing a fucking Navy SEALs training thing, or I'm doing this. I'm like, could you stop being good to everything?
24 hours of fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude.
No thanks.
He's like on that Chris Reed level of badassery.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a different breed, man.
Man,
I gotta run here in a second.
Hey,
I gotta go meet my wife.
Hey, man. Hey,
we're done.
That's not how we close things out here, Jace Pitre.
No, I know. I just want to give you an opportunity to lead into it.
We'll segue to the close.
Jace, just tell him, shut the fuck up. I gotta go. I gotta go.
Fight that guy right there.
Yeah, right.
Hey, man, thank you, man, for being on the show again. It's been awesome to have you here.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me.
It's been, again, we wouldn't, without you two guys' brains coming together, we wouldn't have Fury where it sits today. I'm not going to clap for that. Dude, keep coming to the shows, hanging out, just bullshit and talking, man. That is the best time in the world for, I think, all of us.
I almost wish we could wear the mics whenever Jace is at cage side with us.
That's not a good idea.
His legs are open past the fucking guard, dude. Why are you going to your back?
This guy
Stay on top. Stay on top.
Yeah, guys, don't forget, go to furyfc.t and subhunterpro.tv to get all your tickets for upcoming shows. 716 San Antonio, 723 Submission Hunter Pro right here in Houston. Everything on UFC Fight Pass.
Subscribe to UFC Fight Pass
today.
Drink your Howlerhead whiskey. Drink your Live Oak vodka. Say your prayers. Take your
Subscribe
vitamins.
to OnlyFans and see my feet.
Subscribe to OnlyFans, and the time for talk is over. This has been Fury. Unleashed.
We don't have a bird sound today.
Brother.
So.